And we are back once again in a brand new America. One could say that we've returned.
We weren't in America before.
Well, we were, but so things are looking up. Things are looking up for us. Hudson, how has your week been?
My week has been great. I have had to swim to work because just rivers of liberal tears have clogged up all the roads.
I had to drink my way out of a parking spot. Yep. Because it was so flooded with liberal tears. So true. Owen Zaleski. Owen Zaleski, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? And you even have the profile pic of a Discord kitten. So yeah,
I was gonna say that liberals cry out the salt that they will be then put in.
Oh, the crystals. Yes, that we will imprison them all in their own tiny flake of fleur de sel that we can put on top of a fancy French roll for later. All right, guys. Well, it's another Thursday evening, and we're going to spend 3 hours reading Wendy Painting PhD's Aberration in the Heartland of the Real. And Gabe, because you are asking if we will finish this book by the inauguration, he's asking, but in an imperative statement. Yes, we most definitely will. So, based on our current speed, and then we'll have another book. And we'll have a different intro and a different backdrop, and we'll theme everything. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking the next book that we do will be something lighter, maybe about MK Ultra.
Lighter or thinner. You want to get through more books in a given quarter. Yeah, and we might start peppering in a few like one shots, like where we just read a manifesto or something like that. But yeah. And super chats are live. We've confirmed it. So please sneed those super chats. And actually, if you want to give us a suggestion for the next thing to cover, that would be an excellent way to get us to take it. Well, the problem is that we can't actually. The problem is we can't actually play Polybius. Although a live stream of a game that doesn't exist would be sweet.
Shall we get started?
Yeah, let's. So we just started at the top of the page here, if I recall correctly.
So. Yeah.
Well, if not, who cares? They'll have to just have the.
Wait, hold on. No, I think we're
previously on. No, it's definitely. I don't think we finished this.
No, but I know we went over war games. We went over My Fellow Americans. Russia's been made illegal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're just gonna start at the top and bust this one out. All right. Tim described his interest in computers and hacking to his biographers. I was on the internet before it became popular. I kept inputting different phone numbers, hacked into banks, government agencies. I hacked into more shit on computers than I'd ever admit to. I had a Commodore 64 computer at home. Dave Darlak and myself hacked into people's computers from school. I learned how to charge phone calls to other people's phones. One day we were hacking around and a message came up, "You are all on the system illegally and we'll turn off your phones." The next day I was scared to even take out the garbage. I thought the cops would come. I got into White Sands missile range computer system. White Sands was government computer, but I didn't get past their password. I love the movie War Games. Lightman found the grid computer, and I was trying to get into that too. I saw that movie and wrote my own program. I was inspired by that movie. Yeah, we definitely read that before.
Yep.
Yeah, good old Matthew Broderick. All right. America's future face of terror also came of age during the advent of the mass-mediated terrorism spectacle. These began in earnest in late 1979 during the Iran hostage crisis, at which time Americans learned that the United States does not negotiate with terrorists. During the subsequent Reagan and Thatcher administrations, these spectacles became firmly rooted in the minds of an American as airplane hijackings and crashes, assassinations and bombings became recurring features in the news and popular culture. Media coverage of terroristic events became more frequent, repetitive, and dramatic in content. Um, I mean, honestly, without all of the without that particular hostage crisis, we probably would have had Die Hard.
No. So
So
I mean,
it was all worth it.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it in the end.
Yeah. Thanks, Carter, for being weak.
And without Die Hard, we wouldn't have gotten the superior Die Hard 3.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. I'm pretty sure that was they just changed a script.
To a Die Hard movie.
Yeah, they made it a Die Hard movie. They turned the villain into Hans's brother. Originally, it was just
Alan Rickman.
Yeah. They made Jeremy Irons Alan Rickman's brother, which is a good casting choice. But originally, I believe the script was just about like messing with a detective with a bunch of riddles.
Oh, so it was Speed. Speed easily could have been a Die Hard movie, actually.
Oh, yes. Oh, Die Hard on a bus, yeah. The bus that couldn't slow down.
The bus that couldn't slow down. Throughout the 1980s, already vague common usages and official and legal definitions of terrorism, of which there were hundreds, broadened. Incrementally, understandings of what constituted terrorism and who was a terrorist became more inclusive. And came to encompass a much more expansive range of groups and acts, including terroristic hoaxes and threats. Diversity, equity, and inclusion started in terrorism.
But no, those were successful.
Does it count as a terroristic threat if someone in a wheelchair threatens to roll over you?
Yeah, it's not about skin color or disability, but can they get the job done?
Can they get the job done? That's right. Thus, the number of reported incidents of terrorism increased, as did rapidly growing state and privatized counterterrorism budgets. So too did terrorism become the subject of seemingly disproportionate media coverage. The majority of mainstream primetime mass media reports about terrorism were not only occurring more frequently, they were increasingly sensationalized in nature. Secretary of State Alexander Haig declared that the deadliest threat faced by Americans was terrorism, not obesity. He was wrong.
Yeah, no. Well, now that obesity has taken it over, once RFK kind of does his thing, then it'll be terrorism again.
Yeah, but at this time, Alexander Haig was in the enormous pocket of big obesity.
At the time, McDonald's was still using beef tallow for their fries.
Oh my God! Actually, well, yeah, this was before obesity really got out of hand, wasn't it? This is yes, everyone in their terrorist participation trophies.
Back in my day, you really had to do something.
You got to give them the trophy before they do it.
You had to. Yeah, if they got more trophies as kids, maybe they wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least that's how the logic goes. I don't know, because we didn't have school shootings until participation trophies were a thing.
Oh, that's so true. Well, unless it was a college and you were talking about what's his face who climbed the bell tower.
Right.
That was technically
Charles something.
Yeah. Already forgot.
R.I.P.
While I'm thinking about it, someone who was like wheelchair bound. You could like make that whole chair a pipe bomb.
That was Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, it was. All right. Yeah, that definitely happened. Yeah. Giancarlo Esposito.
Charles Whitman, by the way, was his
Charles
name.
Whitman, there we go.
The Whitman is back.
Television viewers learned of ongoing conflicts escalated between democratized Western nations, i.e. the U.S. and Israel, and a range of independently organized and politically motivated groups and individuals in the Middle East and elsewhere. In 1983 and 1984 alone, the IRA and Sinn Féin fought with the UK fought with the UK. In the largest prison break in British history, 38 members of the Irish Republican Army escaped, followed shortly by an IRA car bombing of the IRA, killed. Wait, hold on. Sorry. IRA car bombing in London. I skipped a line somehow. That killed 6 and injured 90. 2 train bombings in France also.
Is that a failure number?
What?
Is that a failure number?
Oh, just like you're working with it's like a Pareto distribution.
Right. Well, no, because Steve Salier says that if a mass shooting has like such like low amounts of death but many injuries, you can tell it was an African American fellow who did it.
Well, yeah, they were Irish.
Hey, I put up with enough with Gabe. I don't need you chiming in.
I'm also Irish, just so you know. 2 train bombings in France, also thought to be the work of the IRA, killed 5 and injured many others. And a bombing attempt on the lives of the British cabinet and Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher killed 5, though it left Thatcher unharmed. 6,800 gold bars worth about 26 million were stolen from a vault in Heathrow Airport in London during the Brinks MAT robbery, only a small portion of which was recovered.
Hey,
that
you
is
know who
sick.
else survived a bombing? Adolf Hitler, just saying.
Oh my God. Margaret Thatcher was literally girl Hitler. They have a wow, they elected a Hitler. How progressive. And she's a female president. I will say Ireland was way fucking cooler during the Troubles. Like way fucking cooler, right?
Peace has cost them their strength.
They really need, we need bring back the Troubles. I'm calling.
I mean, they've got a different version of the Troubles going on right
well,
now.
I know, but they need to have. I mean, look, I'm just saying, if a bunch of like Protestants from the neighboring island was enough, then what if you have a bunch of farther afield religious groups from farther afield islands or land masses.
Oh, well, that's the thing too, is that Ireland's no longer Catholic.
Oh, so this was literally, it was like the narcissism of small differences, but then like when it's large differences, you're not narcissistic anymore.
Right. Well, they're too different. I can't possibly just blow them up. That would be racist.
I've got an idea. This is what we're gonna do. So you can work on converting all of the Irish back to Catholicism, and I'll work on converting all of the migrants to Anglicanism, and then we can just restart the Troubles. It'll be fine. All right. The U.S. troops invaded Grenada, where during a military coup, the prime minister and 40 followers were assassinated. The Soviet jet shot down Korean Airlines Flight 007. Nice. Killing all 269. Nice. People on board, including a U.S. congressman. Not nice. Filipino opposition leader.
Benino.
Well,
chat. Tell us how do we say that?
Benig? No. Aquino Jr. was assassinated. Several people died in the attempted hijacking of Aeroflot Flight 6833 in Soviet Georgia. 2 members of the Indian Prime Minister's security detail were assassinated. This is one of Wendy's like big things where she'll just like give you a list of events that occurred roughly
very much inspired by like Dave McGowan and Program to Kill, where he's just like, all right, and then 50 things happen that are kind of like this, and they happened on Hitler's birthday.
Yeah. Soviet Georgia. This is nowadays we don't have Soviet Georgia because
we just have Georgia.
Yeah, now we have Georgia, but we do have Soviet Illinois and New York and California.
Boo.
A bomb placed in the baggage compartment of Gulf Air Flight 771 exploded, and the plane crashed in the United Arab Emirates, killing 117 people. Survivors had a lovely visit. Palestinian gunmen hijacked and took hostage passengers on an Israeli bus. I mean, we could say that. You could say that anytime. Hezbollah took over.
We're just gonna
Kuwaiti,
gloss over that one.
yeah. Hezbollah took over a Kuwaiti Airlines flight, killing 4 passengers on board. Yeah, it's really weird they added the good one. Killing 4 passengers on board. Their car bombings hit the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, killing 63, as well as the U.S. Marine Corps barracks, killing 241 service members. The Marines exited Beirut, but a CIA station chief kidnapped by Islamic jihadists died in captivity. A lieutenant in the U.S. Navy on a reconnaissance mission was shot down over Lebanon and held captive by Syrians. The United Nations condemned Iraq for their use of chemical weapons against Iran, and U.S. President Reagan called for an international ban on chemical weapons, which was a real shit move of him because he had just sent all of ours to Iraq.
Hey, can't use those things we sold you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, hurricanes, famines, and industrial disasters claimed millions of lives around the world. Hurricane Alicia hit Texas, leaving 22 people dead, and flash floods in Oklahoma claimed several lives, as did a tornado in Wisconsin. El Nino, Spanish for the Nino, caused severe weather throughout the world. A famine in Ethiopia left over 1 million people dead. The worst industrial disaster in history left more than 8,000 dead and 500,000 injured after methyl isocyanine leaked from a Union Carbide pesticide plant in India.
Hey, I appreciate the fact that you were able to get that out.
What?
Methyl isocyanine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love the, I think that's like the Gopal disaster. But yeah, no, it's, yeah.
I will say that it's funny that she talked about flash floods in Oklahoma. Like, oh, well, luckily that's the worst thing that'll ever happen in Oklahoma, right, guys?
So true. So true. Let's see here. During this time, Night Stalker Richard Ramirez murdered his first known victim. Accusations of ritual satanic abuse of children by teachers at a preschool in a California suburb caused a national scandal.
Confirmed.
Nowadays, that's just part of the curriculum.
No. Like, okay, so McMartinville preschool, right? This was like the thing that kicked off the satanic panic.
Yeah.
And they talked about how actually it was psychologists implanting memories into these children that it couldn't have happened. It didn't happen.
Right.
Gunderson, I think his name was, he was like the head of the FBI in Los Angeles, later found the tunnels under McMartinville preschool when the FBI released their finders documents about McMartinville preschool. The finders cult. Thank you. McMartinville preschool was all over those documents, and yeah, it was true. It all happened.
Wow. I thought that was implanted memories, but
nope.
really
it all happened.
It was in the Finders Cult stuff.
Yes. Yep. Fuck. So you can, yes. David Herod talked about the satanic panic. Yes, he did, and he did a bang up job, which I hate to admit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the satanic panic was real, and it's still going on, people.
Yes. Well, no one's panicking anymore. Maybe they should. Maybe we should.
All panic, no disco.
All panic. Not. Yeah, exactly. At the disco and elsewhere. During this time, let's see. Ritual, satanic abuse, etc., still happening. And nearby, a 41-year-old man randomly killed 21 people at a McDonald's restaurant. That is a shitload of people in a McDonald's. Yeah, that is a shitload. 21 people in a McDonald's. That is.
I don't think you could get 21 people in a McDonald's these days.
Well, not people of the current size of people, right?
I mean, I just don't think you could fit 21 in there.
Yeah,
2-ton 21.
In Los Angeles, a smokable form of cocaine known as crack, and she capitalized crack as a proper noun, began receiving increased media attention, and its use was being called an epidemic. It's not surprising, then, that given all these national and man-made threats throughout the world, teenage Timothy McVeigh, already concerned with preparedness in the face of disaster, grew increasingly fascinated with Reagan-era Cold War apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic World War III survival scenarios, as seen within popular movies of the era. He later described how he grew up gravitating towards films with plots that featured tornadoes, volcanoes, floods, plagues, nuclear and man made disasters, and scenarios where protagonists, oftentimes alone, must survive in harsh, brave new worlds. His favorites included Road Warrior of 1982, ABC's The Day After of 1983, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome 1985, which came out the same year Tim bought his first car.
I will say, I was thinking about this earlier today, but you never see made-for-TV movies anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one. It's just Netflix. There's no outlet for made-for-TV movies.
Yeah, I miss that. If ABC should just do like one more.
Just one more made-for-TV special.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, if it was
Yeah.
ABC or something, it'd just end up on Disney Plus the same time.
Oh, that's true. Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yep. You can't even do Fox anymore. Can't
Never
even do
mind.
20th Century Fox.
Well, why aren't they playing Disney then? Like, why aren't they playing like old Disney films on ABC?
Well,
Answer me
they
that,
go in the vault. They go in the vault, the Disney vault. Why aren't they playing Song of the South on endless loop?
Project 2025 fixes that. Don't worry.
Project 2025 puts all the Disney movies in the vault except for Song of the South.
Employees get the crystal, movies get the vault.
Often mentioned as influential on him was Red Dawn, released in 1984, a year in which fears of a looming Armageddon coincided with or were the result of patriotic sentiment. In this film, communist Cuban and Soviet troops invade the U.S. The invaders disarmed the citizenry after obtaining lists of gun owners, arresting, imprisoning, and executing some. A group of high school students, calling themselves the Wolverines, led by Jed, Patrick Swayze, form a successful guerrilla resistance and are memorialized as heroes. The plots of War Games and Red Dawn, observed Stickney, feature high school students embroiled within government conspiracies that are resolved through the protagonist's heroic actions.
R.I.P. Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, R.I.P. Patrick Swayze. Pain didn't hurt, but cancer fucking sure did, I'm sure.
I'm sure that it did. And the worst part is they're remaking all his movies. They remade Red Dawn in like 2013 or something.
Didn't Jake Gyllenhaal or something?
Yeah, he remade Roadhouse.
Yeah, he got casted, which is crazy. Although I did see that Conor McGregor was the antagonist in that, which I might watch it purely for that reason. But I'll pirate it. I'll pirate it out of respect for Patrick Swayze.
We'll do a stream on LMD.
Yeah, we certainly will not, because I tried to do drive time on YouTube and they immediately torpedoed the channel. So.
All right, we'll do it on DTR.
Right, exactly.
Or whatever drive time movie night. DTMN.
Yep.
Are you guys still doing that? I never hear anything about it.
Well, yeah, it's just really hard to get the word out when you can't be on YouTube.
Well,
the pussies.
You just share it in group chats, you prick.
I guess I should.
Anyway, really bad at that.
I am really bad at that. The film's phrases and visual images within the film appealed to the gun-toting high school boy Tim. One scene that stood out for him featured the NRA's slogan, "I'll give you my gun when you take it from my cold, dead hands," on a bumper sticker of a pickup truck immediately before its driver is killed by the communist villains, who indeed remove his gun from his still warm, dead hands.
You know, not really much of a slogan. Say what you want about the Republican Party or whatever, or conservatism. The memes have gotten much better.
They sure have. Yeah.
Wall of text, the bumper sticker.
Right. Now you have acronyms, really good acronyms. One of the highest grossing movies of 1984, Red Dawn, met with much criticism for its glorification of guns, violence, and mindless patriotism, its promotion of uncritical hatred towards communist and socialist countries, and its acclaimed reception by right-wing extremists and Second Amendment advocate audiences.
Boo, Wendy, boo.
Well, it met with criticism.
No, but I mean, like, no, but that's the criticism. And like, what? The country gets invaded, or we're supposed to just say, oh, well, I guess we're all communists now.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the country gets the. I mean, man, nothing would clear up our problems faster, honestly. Um, Mitchell's re-envisioning of survivalism proves relevant to McVeigh's early perceptions of the world, his responses to them, and his related narrations. Survivalists, wrote Mitchell, relish inventing new narratives, new primal means, and fundamental meanings by which the world may be known. To find places of consequence, survivalists fashion discourses of pending need, speculative circumstances of crisis and concern wherein major social institutions face imminent serious erosion or total dissolution, and in which survivalists themselves play central roles in reprioritizing, revisioning, reprioritized revisioning, recover, and renewal. Survivalist discourse tailors widespread rancor and disorder to fit schemes for maximizing personal competence, actualization, and relevance. Yeah, I mean, what is this? Is this not just like the Faustian spirit, like someone wanting a challenge, someone wanting like a heroic challenge to conquer? Like, am I crazy here? Am I the
If you're
crazy
crazy, I'm
one?
crazy.
So Serrano pessimistically observed, however, that the young McVeigh was thinking even then in the simplest of terms, how best to face an unfair world. Had his father paid better attention to his son, he would have noticed the trademarks of many who end up on the fringes of American society. Those who believe in government conspiracies and demon threats and who
Hey,
trust no one in authority. Oh, my ears are burning. Reliant only on themselves.
my
As a,
father loved me very much, I'll have you know.
as a teenager, he had embraced fantasy rather than accept the reality of the breakup of his parents' marriage. Sometimes he could not move beyond his mother's exit from his young life, and so, to shore up his defenses, he built a fortress of his secret basement world. OG neat. While the other teenagers worried about what brand of clothing they wore, Tim spent his money on 55-gallon barrels that he filled with water and stored in his father's basement. Unbelievably based.
And
When asked,
now it's Mountain Dew.
when asked what else Tim kept down there, Bill said, whatever he thought he needed, including gunpowder. If everything went haywire, he'd have it there. You know, he was into survival. Imagine just like being chill with your son, filling your basement
Hey, what you
full
got
of.
down there, Tim? Oh,
Yeah, what do you?
water, gunpowder, stuff you need.
Oh, you just got a bunch of barrels of gunpowder, buddy? Are you winning?
Are you winning, son?
Are you winning,
Yes,
son?
father, but soon.
Soon. Yeah, I mean, you're just like reenacting the gunpowder treason under your own fucking house. Yes.
Remember, father.
Sawdust creator, my secret basement world is my goon cave. Yes.
No. He had it right the first time. It is a doom cave.
The doom gooning. Get off on pessimism. When asked about this, McVeigh conceded that perhaps he did have millennialist thinking, and recalled that when he first watched Red Dawn, it fit perfectly with what he already sensed about the world. He just never quite pinned down when the end would come.
Holy crap, we got a super chat.
Oh, hey, Lacuna, thank you very much. Thank you for these streams. Do you still plan on doing the Seinfeld table read?
Yes.
Yes,
As soon as we
do.
find somebody who can do a good George Costanza.
Yes, and we do have some people who are already signed up
Yep. It's going to be huge.
for roles.
It's going to be
It's going to be huge. All righty. And thank you very much, Lacuna. First super chat.
Yeah, we just we broke a cherry. Look at us.
Yep, popped it.
Half of that money's going to Double Dealer. Thank you, Lacuna.
After taxes, let's see. All he knew was when it did, he didn't want to have to depend on anyone to survive. If you depend on somebody else, you're at their mercy. Mrs. Hodge, Steve's mother, noted, this was at the time he was trying to survive without his mom and without his dad. Steve remembered Tim's preoccupation, and he said even as a teenager, he had an arsenal which included tents, guns, K rations, and tear gas. He had many kinds of ammunition, including steel case, metal piercing bullets.
Metal
it's just,
jacket.
It's just, I mean, steel case ammo is just cheap, bud. I mean, steel core, steel case is just cheap. Timothy McVeigh was not alone in his interests. The wider culture of survivalists had steadily grown since Tim's early brush with the apocalyptic blizzard of '77. A reportedly large percentage of Americans shared Tim's concerns about future nuclear winters, evidenced by increasing subscription rates to magazines like Survive and best-selling books like Nuclear War Survival Skills. Books such as Life After Doomsday, A Survivalist Guide to Nuclear War and Other Major Disasters, 1980, and How to Survive a Nuclear Disaster of 1982 continued to appear on shelves. Such books offered grim statistics about the likelihood of surviving a major catastrophe, man-made or natural, and informed readers about how to improve their chances of doing so.
See, okay, maybe I'm a fatalist, maybe I don't know, but I wouldn't want to survive a nuclear war.
Why, pussy?
Yeah, because it sounds like it's gonna really, really suck. And
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to die, so therefore,
I don't mind. Hey, death is, just another adventure, man.
But what? I mean, you have kids, so you don't want to protect them.
I don't have kids actually, but
Oh, really? Oh,
no,
sorry.
not yet.
All right. Well,
keep
at her. Keep at her.
Death is on the menu.
Keep praying, and eventually the stalk will come. You do have to have sex, though.
See, that's what I've been lacking. Apparently, praying for the stork doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a huge bottleneck. So basically, anyone who manages to survive and build a harem will multiply very well.
Yes, my harem of one-eyed, three-armed women.
I mean, three arms. Does that mean
no
4 tits?
No,
I'm just like. I mean, are they like
I'm trying to find silver linings, pal?
I am an optimist, my friend. I do not have a doom goon cave. I have a bloom goon cave. By January 1984, headlines announced they're ready, the nuclear family, preparing to survive doomsday and beyond. Reports described this new survivalist culture as a family affair. Parents educated their children on the value of survival, and movies like Red Dawn, War Games, and the TV film The Day After made apocalyptic anxieties fun for the whole family. Perhaps exacerbating threats of looming doom. What's inside looming dooming goon? Where government agencies like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, aka FEMA,
they're gonna put us in the FEMA camps,
who announced the creation of nationwide evacuation and relocation plans, or statements like those of President Ronald Reagan, who earlier that month in a discussion about Soviet-U.S. relations declared that reducing the risk of war, and especially nuclear war, is priority number 1. Nuclear conflict could well be mankind's last. Mitchell explored the ways in which survivalists articulate the stories they tell to themselves and others. Among themselves, survivalists more often narrate than debate the cause of the coming cataclysm. Assorted calamity stories may coexist without discord, to be retold and tailored as individuals see fit. Constructing a cataclysmic tale personalized to one's circumstances is a survivalist prerogative and pastime. One constructing these tales accrue respect from survivalist others as stories. Quality is judged on the basis of artful drama, clever plot twists, and especially refinements in technical details, not on the basis of correspondence to the empirical. Stories need to be believable, not provable, evoke imagination, not reveal first principles or primal truths. Survivalist scenarios are akin to contemporary legends told in future tense, accounts of happenings in which the narrator has not yet been directly involved, presented as propositions for belief, even events that could occur, told as if their probability is high. Problems ahead must be defined as both urgently compelling and manageable in scope, neither trivial improbabilities nor certain destruction. This is challenging creative work. I mean, it's speculative fiction. I mean,
yeah,
right?
These guys do it for free.
Yeah, you guys are getting paid. I mean, the survivalism. I mean, it's a niche market. I feel like, I mean, I feel like that's probably. I was in some GCs where people thought the election was going to go
Right.
sideways in much more elaborate and frankly entertaining ways. But I'm glad it didn't.
Patriots are in control now. Don't worry,
Patriots
citizen.
in control.
Now, I was thinking about, did you ever see those movies? Oh, what is it? It's not The Day After, but it's something like that, like Left Below or something like that.
Oh, Left Behind?
Left Behind, yeah.
I
Where,
did not.
oh, that is a treat. The first one and the remake with Nicolas Cage.
Oh my God, I didn't realize Nicolas Cage was in.
Yeah. So Nicolas Cage is in the remake of the first one. I think it's like Kirk Cameron or something who's in the original, right? And it's based on this book series that this guy did.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all about the Rapture and stuff like that. The sequel to the Nicolas Cage one starred, what's his name? Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, Hercules, the legendary journey.
Yeah, so Kevin Sorbo replaces Nicolas Cage in those.
Oof,
and
downgrade.
A little bit. Well, no, we didn't get Raising Arizona Cage. We got Wicker Man Cage.
Oh, the bees.
Yeah.
So it was extremely hammy.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just those kind of survival movies just have a religious bent to them, but people went. I think the books originally came out in the 80s, and people went nuts for them.
Yeah, aren't they? I believe it's like dispensationalist speculative fiction.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Boo dispensationalism.
Yeah, that's why we got the Iraq War.
Get new material. Yeah.
Another set of books.
EL says, I'm currently in early 20s true cell, but I planned on building a bunker when I buy a house. It's not that expensive. The cost per square foot is around $500. If you think about it like an add-on, it's reasonable. $500 a square foot. I mean, depending on where you are, that could be a cheap price.
Yeah, 500. So if I do 2 feet, that's a grand. Yeah, I'm already priced out.
You can't build a Fallout phone booth.
No.
Sad. Well, I guess you get to, maybe you could build a self-defense
really adds
crystal.
to the value of the house. EL. It's like, oh yes, let's see. There's a pool in the backyard, a good school district. There's a Whole Foods around the corner, and he built a bunker in the basement. So I mean, technically finished.
It is sick. I mean, that would be sick to have. I mean, you're welcome to the party vault.
I think there was it was a Reddit. It must have been 4chan. It must have been a 4chan post because it was actually funny and good. This guy sold his house but kept living on the land in his secret bunker.
What?
Yeah.
You know what he could have done? He could have just sold everything and not sold the subsurface rights and just retained subsurface rights so you couldn't stop him from living in his bunker.
No, so he literally just didn't tell them that there was a bunker on the property, and for 6 months he lived on the property in the bunker after he'd sold it to these people. I mean, that's
obviously crazy, as someone who respects contracts, but he could have gotten away with it if he had just not conveyed the subsurface.
I did not sell you the mineral rights to.
Yeah, I didn't sell you. I didn't sell you subsurface. I sold you surface, the property, and the air rights. Sorry, bud.
I'm already renting out the subsurface property to the mole people.
To the mole men. I've got a huge mole men complex here.
And they have great lawyers. I wasn't able to get out of it.
Oh my God, the mole men must have the best lawyers.
Moleman associates at law.
Mitchell's survivalist narrative provide a framework through which to read many of the threats McVeigh perceived, beyond simply reducing them to paranoia. You need to keep in mind a fundamental. It will be important later. Survivalists are, by their nature, defensive in posture. So, in a real sense, a survivalist goal is an incremental effort at attaining personal freedom through separation and independence from the system. It's a yearning to live like the Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Why do I have to apologize for making sure I can take care of myself? Wanting to make sure I can live without somebody else's help. That is the government's help. What would these people do if there was a terrorist attack and the New York City water supply was spiked? They'd probably sue if they died. It's a sort of a hobby, no weirder than collecting stamps or memorizing batting average of some retired baseball player. I almost did not say retired.
Some retarded baseball player.
Babe Ruth!
Would you believe that Scooter McGinty was the greatest retarded baseball player that ever lived? He had a 100 batting average lifetime.
Which was 20 more than his IQ.
Oh,
A lot of the time, I don't have pity for these people who get wiped out because they didn't prepare themselves. The power plant in Niagara Falls would be a secondary or tertiary bombing target because the winds are westerly. Being a survivalist is about being prepared if the infrastructure is not there. I have a real problem with people who demonize survivalists by calling them hoarders or say they're hoarding supplies. By definition, hoarding can only take place in times of shortage. When food and other supplies are plentiful in our free market, it is not hoarding to squirrel these things away. That's
Farnham's
true.
Freehold. This guy's favorite book has to be Farnham's Freehold. That just sounded just like him.
It really, yeah, exactly.
I do wonder, like, he doesn't have sympathy for people who aren't prepared. Could you imagine being like the Ukrainian survivalist in the 1980s, and then one day Chernobyl happens, and he's like, I was right.
Yeah, I was right, but unfortunately, the way to deal with this is to just fucking leave.
Wait, come on, comrade, you have to go. No, please, everything's set up here. Perfect.
I have such nice shelter. Yeah.
We have such nice shelter.
EL has been fucking bargain hunting for the bunkers.
Do you really want the cheapest bunker, EL?
I mean, I do know I'm actually familiar with Atlas shelters, and I've also looked at buying some old missile silos, as well as old telecommunications bunkers, just because it's tangential to my day job.
Sometimes I black pill, but I really love this country.
What? Oh, the fact that you can just buy that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even that expensive.
No,
I mean,
not.
you can get a 50,000 square foot missile silo like 20 minutes outside of Denver for like $600,000, which is a really good deal for real estate in Colorado.
I would definitely change out the locks so that the key that I used to go into my missile silo house was the launch key.
Yeah, but you have to like you have to turn two of them at the same time.
I thought this was cool at first, but this got really fucking
This is a real
annoying.
pain in the ass. Oh man, if you like sleep weird and can't stretch your arms all the way out, you just can't fucking get in your house. Oh man.
No, those are time locks. We're not getting in for another 2 days.
Sorry, honey. Alrighty. Interestingly, the work of popular culture he absorbed that seemed to provide a sense of comfort or optimism, or that in any way mitigated his anxieties about the encroaching disasters and cataclysms he perceived, was the Star Trek television series. For young Tim McVeigh and throughout his life, Star Trek held the answers to a number of ills and taught him how to ask questions about the world around him and think for himself. While many have commented on McVeigh's consumption of popular media, he obsessively talked about Star Trek in particular as a way to illustrate any number of issues, including those pertaining to the bombing and its victims. His attorneys remarked the primary extent hero/role models he speaks of are Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Captain Picard, all characters on Star Trek.
Nerds ruin everything.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely haven't memorized all of the rules of acquisition. I haven't. I for sure haven't. Like, there's no chance that I have.
I mean, your wife is Asian. I know that you're a massive nerd.
Yeah, well, shut the fuck up. He continued to speak and write about Star Trek until his execution, and many letters to his biographers contain pages of his sometimes bizarre musings about the show. Star Trek holds the key. I really want it to be like literally up until he was executed. Like, he's like getting buckled into the chair, and he was like, and then
Dear Gene Roddenberry.
and then on First Contact Day, Zephyr McCochran launched, and the Vulcans noticed the warp signature, and they came down to Earth and saved us from nuclear winter.
So if you noticed in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, it's actually just Moby Dick in space. You can even see Khan reading Moby Dick and quoting it from it several times throughout the film. No, I haven't read Moby Dick. That book's long as hell. I'll just watch the movie with Gregory Peck.
I want the extended version of Wrath of Khan where they give whale facts.
Oh no, that's Star Trek 4, the one with like
the one with whales. The whale, well, the one with the actual whale facts. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the cetology chapter is, they should just publish the cetology chapter of Moby Dick as a standalone, just
as a textbook that you have to read in college.
Exactly.
So I'm a whale expert, and I don't know half as much about whales as Herman Melville did on a bet.
Oh my god. All right. The social structure of the society, the political beliefs of the Federation, including the Prime Directive, to some, humanity should come together voluntarily, not by bombs or sanctions, each nation as they're ready, for the common goal of colonization of other planets. True. The most important reason, right now, we have all of our eggs in one basket. Any global catastrophe, extinction event. There was an asteroid scare just last week.
Some asshole could blow up Earth with a truck bomb.
With a big enough truck. Give me a big... to paraphrase, who was it? Archimedes. Give me a big enough truck and a place to park it, and I will blow up the world.
I am not a philosopher. I am dynamite. I am human truck bomb.
Would wipe out not only our species, but all we've worked for. All our knowledge, experience, and progress. However it may seem we degenerate, we still have advanced as a whole. In fact, Tim compared nearly everything, including himself, to characters or circumstances in the show and undoubtedly emulated them. Actually, you know what? If he compared himself to Captain Kirk, that probably explains why he kept fucking his friends' wives, because no man hornier in fiction than Captain Kirk.
I have to get this truck to Oklahoma City.
If I don't, all those green bitches will stop giving me the
Captain,
green poo.
That is illogical. Why would the government send you to go blow up a government building? Spock, I can't stop right now. I have to get to the Murrah Building.
That's a pretty uncanny. Pretty uncanny. I almost thought that William Shatner was in the chat.
You know what? Fuck you.
All right. So, all in all, whether it's the characters or the system of government, Star Trek Next Generation is an in-depth utopian model for the future, something for mankind to strive towards, especially in this, the bloodiest century since mankind first walked upright, a light of hope in these dark ages. How I relate to certain key characters, Picard, the most respected man in Starfleet, see my military buddy's comments about me. Picard knows all the systems. So fucking humble. Picard knows all the systems. Multiply proficient. Highly skilled diplomat. I wish. A standard goal to aim for. Yet lonely man. Keeps emotions in check. No quality I dislike or don't understand. Worf, the consummate warrior. I do consider myself a warrior. Again, see my Newsweek interview. Dude, oh my god,
No,
this was like right before he got executed, and I'm sure people were like, "This
the
fucking
governor
guy."
was gonna extend him, and then he started talking.
And then he started talking like that. It's like, oh my god, no! Give me the
It's
sodium
amazing that
pentothal.
Ted Kaczynski, was friends with him.
Yeah,
I guess because Ted didn't have a wife, he could.
who the fuck else? Right, exactly. There was no one. There was no one for.
So you
for Timothy
married
McVeigh
Ted?
to cuck him with.
No, I'm not. Oh, I'll talk to you later then.
Let's see. Worf, consummate warrior. Data, android, so no emotion. Logic rules. Data is the Spock equivalent. Access stored memory on command, i.e., highly retentive. LaForge, chief engineer. Just look at the pride he takes in knowing his shit. Engineering section is his, and he takes pride in knowing it like the back of his hand. Highly proficient in this field. I absolutely relate to the pride and care he takes in the upkeep of systems. I like Picard better than Captain Kirk. Confronted with a situation, Kirk would kill people with phaser guns. Picard would say, "Let's see what we can do and straighten this out." Bro, you are Kirk.
When you think about it, a Bradley fighting vehicle is a lot like the Enterprise.
Shut the fuck up!
I swear, if I have to drive all the way through Iraq hearing about Star Trek this and Star Trek that, I am going to bury so many Iraqis in their graves.
That's why they were so effective. That's why he was such effective in the Bradley. Among other things, Timothy McVeigh.
Could you imagine? Like,
a bona fide nerd.
There's a tank ahead, setting phasers to kill. Shut the fuck up, Tim.
Just goddamn reload the mod deuce. Most humble MK Ultra victim.
Yeah, it turns out that a prerequisite to being an MK Ultra stooge is you have to be a raging narcissist.
Yes. EL, they don't know I'm multiply proficient and highly respected. Timothy McVeigh standing in the corner at the party. Oh my god.
They don't know I fucked all their wives.
They don't know. They do know I fucked all their wives.
I'm highly respected.
Excellent Yelp reviews from the ladies. All right. Next subsection, the Lost Generation. Tim McVeigh began high school in 1982. Based on his high IQ scores, he attended advanced placement (AP) classes. Throughout high school, he maintained near perfect attendance, received excellent grades, and stayed out of trouble. He never caused problems. He went to church and didn't swear, smoke, drink, use drugs, or fight. He never belonged to any specific group, and he seemed to get along with everyone. His classmates remembered that Tim appeared to possess an innate intelligence. He could just show up to class and ace every exam placed in front of him without having studied. He continued to collect rare coins and comic books, did not like math class, but liked earth science and had a crush on a girl in his biology class with whom he thought was both pretty and intellectual.
And pretty intellectual.
Pretty intellectual, she's smart, she can read. She can read.
It takes her a little bit, but she gets through the sentence once in a while.
In his freshman year, he joined the football team, then the track team in his sophomore year. In his junior year, he was elected to the student council and, with money he had squirreled away, purchased his first car. In his senior year,
Ryder truck.
A Ryder. In his senior year, he began working at a nearby Burger King, and upon graduation, his classmates voted him most talkative because he never talked or because of his ability to talk to anybody, depending on who you ask. He contains multitudes.
Boy, I wonder how much fertilizer you could fit in a Bradley fighting vehicle.
God damn it! Shut the fuck up, Tim. If it's not Star Trek, you're calculating the cubic volume of things to store fertilizer.
You know what? Why don't you just do it? You're always talking.
Just fucking do it.
You don't have the balls.
That's what these are the conversations that Terry Nichols had with him. Why Terry Nichols is in prison.
You just shut up and do it.
Well, technically, I guess I did have knowledge.
We have Court reporter, please read out Mr. Nichols' testimony. Do it. Just do it already. Please do it. I didn't say it like that.
It wasn't like that. I was exasperated. It wasn't a call to action.
I was in the cuck chair.
I was in the cuck chair. No, well then you literally were telling him to do it.
Do it.
Yeah, that would not have been Terry Nichols though.
Explode.
All right. Oh my gosh, what the fuck? Steve Hodge and his mother said Tim was an extremely conscientious teenager, always prepared, and the type of person who always kept big ropes in the car that he could help with so he could help people in trouble. I remember he always wanted to help people. He would get real excited if he heard about someone who needed something. He'd come over and say, "Come on, I've got rope. Come on, we've got a mission." Likewise, his teacher would remember him as a quiet, well-liked, conscientious, cooperative, and helpful people pleaser. One classmate said he was always trying to please other people by doing extra help, being extra funny. He went out of his way to make people laugh and like him. He was always on the outside, trying to fit in.
Oh,
Others,
you know, he was the kid in church with the always picking up the extra chairs at the end and at the beginning.
What church has chairs?
Oh no! Like if you go to like church group or something after, and somebody. Yeah. Anyway, never mind.
Sorry, bud. I'm Catholic.
No.
Pews
Yeah.
only. Leave immediately.
In the non-denominational sphere, they use chairs.
Oh,
when I went to it the first time, I no longer go there. But I was like, "What the hell is this?" It was surreal.
Oh man, yeah. EL. I don't know, but I was hearing Don Rickles whenever you said his attorney's name. It's definitely Steve Jones. See, I mean, we were doing country hyper. We were doing space country hyper chicken, but I mean, I guess Don Rickles also works for Steve Jones. Oh, God, man, that'd be great if Steve Jones was just constantly roasting Timothy McVeigh. It's just, God,
you had to use the truck bomb.
God, you're lanky. Look at you, Slim. Have a goddamn sandwich. Could have used all that fertilizer to grow some food for yourself. Now you're here.
Mr. Warmth would have killed at Tim McVeigh's trial.
Yeah. All right. Others, including one classmate, offered more contradictory and divided picture. Tim, he said, was outgoing and active, but also an unconnected loner on the fringes of teenage social life. Similarly, a family friend told the Jones team that Tim was always on the outside, looking in, wanting a place to fit in. He never quite made what he wanted to make or achieve what he wanted to achieve. It seemed like no matter what he did, he didn't quite make it. Not as a son to his mother or father or in any of the other groups the other kids were involved in. Oof.
Ugh.
His classmates never knew him to date girls, nor did they recall him attending the senior prom. According to Tim, his parents never mentioned, much less discussed, sex with him, and whatever he knew about the subject, he learned on his own. One remembered that Tim rarely, if ever, dated, and thought the problem was that he set his sights too high and tried to ask out girls who were out of his league. Tim himself claimed that he lost his virginity in his junior year to an older married woman he worked with at Burger King who liked his stamina and the fact that he was a young buck. Uh-oh. Bucks mentioned. The affair lasted about 3 weeks and then fizzled out.
You don't know her. She lives in a different state.
Yeah, her name is Alberta. She lives in Vancouver. I don't know. I don't think so, Tim. I
don't know about that one, Tim.
Yeah. Soon after, he began dating another coworker around his own age named Sarah, name changed, who said Tim was loud and goofy and tended to drive frighteningly fast. To her, he seemed lost, almost as if he was raising himself, and he had an obvious resentment of his mother. They dated for about 6 months, but he broke up with her soon after he graduated high school, telling her he was not ready for a serious relationship. Tim elegantly explained to his biographers that it was with Sarah that he began to explore his sexuality. I was interested in another girl. Sarah was a little plump. She was interested. I was horny. I got Sarah on the pill. I was an honorable kid. Took her to Planned Parenthood clinic in Lockport. I took her to her senior prom. She was my coming of age girl.
Oh, no wonder
A real
no wonder she
Bildungsroman. Yeah.
no wonder she wanted her name redacted.
Yeah, no kidding.
Who would want to cop to being Tim McVeigh's practice girl?
Yeah, I mean Timothy McVeigh's Slam Pig is a
Nutcracker
weird.
out how long?
It's a weird brag, right? Um, Sarah was the only girlfriend Tim McVeigh ever had. What? His only other known sexual partners were, like his mother, married women, often the wives of close friends, including those of future co-conspirators Terry Nichols and Michael Fortier. Oh, I
No,
guess I
but
was
I
wrong.
just like how are these women just sleeping with it? Like it's known, like it was admitted to, or is this just him like
Yeah.
bullshitting?
I mean, maybe. Well, after his arrest, allegations that he was still a virgin or disinterested in either sex in general or women specifically particularly offended him. Asexual? No way. I had no long-term love relationship. Never met a woman I loved. That doesn't mean I didn't have sexual relationships. I'm very discreet. I don't need to brag about the woman I fucked or the breasts that I've felt up that feel like beautiful bags of sand. We kept it quiet. I never obsessed on one girl. If a girl I asked out said no, I said no problem.
Let me get the duct tape.
Let me get the no problem. I've
No
got.
problem.
Hey, does this rag smell like chloroform? Yeah.
You said no problem. I know. I meant like no
No problem. Oh, they messed this all up. No, problem. EL. Apparently, Ted Kaczynski was a troon.
I refuse to believe it.
Refuse to believe. Obvious smear. Come on, man.
Well, okay. So I will say. So there was this interesting documentary on Netflix that came out, and they had this like woman psychologist talk about some of the things he wrote about. And
Oh, that's 2 strikes against her.
Right. Apparently, a woman and psychologist. I know. Apparently, Ted did write a few letters that indicated some autogynephilia, but then she made sure to backtrack because she realized the implication of what she said, and she's like, "But this isn't an indictment of the whole trans community." Blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, you had to catch yourself there. You almost said something you weren't supposed to.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just didn't. I mean, honestly, given Timothy McVeigh's child, I don't want to like super psychoanalyze here, but given his childhood, you could imagine he wouldn't want to like get attached to a woman since his mother was a filthy whore.
Gabe, I think Gabe is right here, and I could imagine if Tim McVeigh were like Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate, that he definitely would kill himself.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, yeah, wood pit 420. He was probably just bored. Gets pretty boring out in the woods. Yeah, I mean, Kaczynski was probably gained so much. He started to like, he imagined women too often. Then he imagined himself as a woman. One thing led to another.
Yeah, I think more likely Ernest Hemingway was a troon, but I don't think Ted Kaczynski was.
Well, I don't really think trooning is real, so
there you go.
Yeah. Anyways, when Project 2025 is enacted, we are going to make cross-sex hormones Schedule 1 drugs. Schedule 1 drugs, folks.
But you can get all the testosterone you want.
Whatever. Yeah, women can get estrogen replacement. Dudes can get roids. Get fucking jacked to the tits.
I'm already on my first Psycholive trend.
Huge. Yeah, eat clean, trend hard. Do it. We are going to make America swole again. Everyone's going to look like Kali muscle. You will literally be so muscly you will turn black. Sorry, it's a side effect.
Hey, Cap, how come my balls are shrinking and my head is expanding?
You are becoming an actual gorilla. You are becoming a literal silverback. All right. Meanwhile, after moving to Florida with her 2 daughters, Mickey began drinking more heavily and her behavior became more erratic. She seemed to see herself more as a friend than a mother, and occasionally brought her daughters to the bar and encouraged them to drink with her. Late one night, Jennifer received a call from someone at a local bar who said her mother was plastered and needed to be picked up right away. When Jennifer arrived, she found Mickey, drunk and stoned, had accidentally locked herself in the bathroom, bumped her head, and could not remember how to get out. That is, man, what a fucking whore. Nikki, you were a smoke show when you were young, but holy shit, that is intolerable behavior.
Would you believe that, you know, well, I mean, she is Irish, so it's like, you know, how we got a grade on a curve here, you know?
She needed, honestly, this is Bill's fault. He needed to, do some Irish corrections, if you know what I'm saying. She was obviously strong. She was obviously strong enough to smash her head into a bathroom wall and survive it. So
Yeah, no, this is why you can't simp kids.
Never simp. Yeah, almost as important as never goon. Jennifer became increasingly wild and depressed under Mickey's roof and began drinking regularly and using drugs herself. Mickey seemed unable to settle on one location. Jennifer said that in the year after she moved to Florida, she lived in 4 different places and attended 3 high schools. Her grades began to drop significantly, and unhappy with her life in Florida, returned to the Buffalo area to live with her father. The hardworking but detached Bill also seemed unable to provide the type of structure she needed. Jennifer said she would go to bed every night with a bottle of Jack Daniels and drink until she passed out. Her father never said anything to her about it. That is a conflict-averse motherfucker.
Yeah,
your high school daughter is drinking some Jack every night. Where's she fucking getting that shit?
Are you sure that she's not, or are you sure that he's not Canadian? Oh, didn't want to interrupt your bender there.
Oh, sorry, honey. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're having a little tipple
Just
before
a little,
bed.
drinky poo. You're just like your whore mother would did for it.
Just like your whore mother. Owen Zaleski, Capitalisimo confirmed down bad for Dublin Force. Look, I'm just saying. Oh, look. All right, I'm gonna make a little confession here. The whole like Madonna, the whole Madonna horror complex thing, absolutely a real effect. Like there's the woman I married, a absolutely wonderful. I love my wife. She is not not similar to any of the women that I mostly spent my time with in my wilder years. The women that I mostly spent my time with in my wilder years were more like Kesha, where you like wake up in the morning and brush your teeth with a bottle of Jack Daniels, like crazy party sluts. Never change. Crazy party slut never change, to be clear. But you will die alone. You will die alone, crazy party slut.
So true. Alpha widowed by a girl with BPD.
Oh my god. All right.
No. Fuck the book. I want to keep hearing about this, Cap. You keep going.
Look, I'm just saying I absolutely would have spent some quality time with Mickey. I'm just saying. Back in the day. Obviously during the time look, Gabe, Kesha is not a dated reference, and in fact,
you misspelled it. There's a dollar sign.
Yeah, it's Kadalr, and in fact, when there was the whole like sexual assault thing, and she like gained all that weight and became like thick Kesha. I don't know if you've
$2 signs in there.
$2 signs. I don't know if you've seen the music video for Praying, but yes. I am. You gotta turn the sound off, but just go for it. It's fine.
Kesha should be seen, not heard.
Yeah. Actually, I do like her. She did a song with Sturgill Simpson that I thought was pretty good, actually. But
you massive bag.
That is extremely heterosexual. Also, Sturgill Simpson is good. Gabe was 8 when TikTok came out. Yeah.
Yes, Gabe likes a nice classy broad.
I didn't even know there was a Kesha Seinfeld clip, Wood Pit.
Hillary Duff is still a wood.
See, now you are the fucking like now that is a dated reference, Hillary Duff.
It's in the comments section. What do we?
Oh, I know,
you're
I know.
talking to Gabe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Anyway, all right. As countless books about survivalism popped up in the 1980s, writers in other genres capitalized on the trend by selling books such as How to Survive Your Marriage and How to Survive Your Job, as well as an increasing number of children's books about kids abandoned by their parents because of various natural or man-made disasters. The trend coincided with increased divorce rates, single-parent families, and a growing number of working mothers. During this time, divorce rates slowly increased from about 12% in 1982 and 1983 to 13.4% in 1985. No longer the exception to the rule, but by the mid 1980s, latchkey kids were becoming the norm. In 1985, 60% of mothers in Canada worked outside the home. 65%. 60%. Related books appeared, including The Handbook for Latchkey Children and Their Parents, a complete guide for latchkey kids and their working parents. The boomers, the fucking boomers, they had the worst.
Well, no,
marriages.
would that be the silent generation who are their parents?
It's the boomers.
It's
the boomers having divorces. Yeah. What?
Well, no, because I thought millennials like you and I were the children of boomers, and boomers were, just coming of age at this point.
Boomers were having their kids. Boomers were like starting their 30s in the mid 80s.
I see. Okay.
So like that's when
I guess my
frankly that's frankly when people usually get divorced in the first 5 years of their marriage. But
oh no.
But yeah, no, it's fucking boomers. When he denied it had any negative effect on him, Tim often brought up the lack of supervision in the McVeigh home. When I got home from school, my mother wasn't there. These days, he said, kids get home, there's no parental influence in the household. Parents are working. Much of this he blamed on the women's movement, true, which he felt had removed mother's presence from home life. Tim felt the previous baby boomer generation had full parental influence, while his Generation X had some sense of it, and the next Generation Y, i.e. millennials, would have almost none. So true, King.
Shout out to a friend of the show, Isaac Young, but between the right-wing extremism and this love of Star Trek, he sounds a lot like Tim McVeigh.
I mean, it's very actually super true. Except, yeah, I mean, Timothy McVeigh minus truck bomb plus Catholicism equals Isaac Young.
Yeah, great guy. Actually, Cannon Fodder episode just dropped with him today. That's why he's on top of mind. So go listen to that after this.
Oh yeah, and on top of the Princess of Mars, right? That was the episode.
Yes. We double team Princess of Mars. I mean,
she's a good girl. She wouldn't do that. Although she's always dressed like a whore.
That's just how they dress in Mars, Mom.
That's just how they just, it's traditional. It's traditional.
She's based, I swear. She's a Martian trad wife.
Looking at Galactic Geographic for all the pictures of the girls from Mars. Sometimes in letters to his biographers, he advised them to spend time with their children.
McVeigh was from Mars.
As they were in that age where they really need you. Oh, it's very thoughtful of him to do that, you know? Let's see. The effects of this trend on children became the subject of debate and study. Generation X, the first to live fully within the themes of postmodernism, inhabited an unpredictable, rapidly mutating, and crisis-ridden world, and faced an extremely uncertain future in which previous boundaries dissolved. Beyond the breakdown of traditional nuclear family norms, the baby boomers left their progeny to contend with a sense of political cynicism, new technologies, information and media overload, identity crises, high unemployment rates, and a complex and fragile global economy, and frightening era of war and terrorism and domestic
I thought we were
militarism.
in Reaganomics right now. I thought we were, all yuppies or yippies.
Yippies. Many speculated that the growing numbers of Generation Xers fending for themselves were more likely to have behavioral issues, low self esteem, depression, to abuse drugs, smoke, drink, become promiscuous, cynical, and reject authority. You know what they didn't say? Become obese. Because McDonald's fried their fries in tallow. Still.
Yeah,
Have to
Tim
return.
McVeigh was just Bill Foster.
Oh my god.
Such a good
Let's
film.
see. Gabe, does marrying a hot Martian trad wife count as miscegenation? Absolutely not. They're human. They're human up there. Come on.
Yeah, no, the aliens just brought them over there someday, or they got zapped over the same way that John Carter did.
John Carter. Man, talk about something that was screaming for an adaptation that they absolutely fucking shat out.
We went into it.
Oh, I only listened to like the first half. Then I had to get to the day's appointments. So, but I will finish it. But yeah, that movie fucking sucked.
Yeah, yeah, and they'll never make it another one.
No, yeah, no
Project
shit.
2025 will do it. Actually,
We'll
you know
reboot.
what, we should get Kautzman on it and just he can do a stage adaptation of it.
Project 2025. We will not redo the John Carter film, but we will do the entire Gore series as a hour format prestige drama on HBO.
Love it.
With tits.
Love it.
The effects of this trend on children became a subject of debate and study. I already did this.
Gabe, the reason green pussy hits different is because that's actually a venereal disease, you sick bastard.
I've got what they've called verdigris vitiligo. Studies and news reports dubbed the latchkey kids of Tim's generation the lost generation and described them as rootless, disillusioned, apathetic, indifferent, cheaply employed, and frustrated people. These slackers were not particularly lazy, just cynical and skeptical. Unlike their baby boomer parents, who still tended to remain at the same job for most of their adult lives, Tim's generation tended to be more nomadic and, while not loyal to geography or employment, were loyal to their friends, disliked being labeled or categorized, less shallow, less materialistic than parents, and eschewed the American dream. On the other hand, they had enjoyed the possibilities of technologies, identities, and entrepreneurial adventure unimagined by previous generations, and were thought to be less materialistic and more independent, self reliant, confident, socially and technologically savvy, perhaps even the most technologically sophisticated, and possessing the widest repertoire of media literacy. Media literacy mentioned. But by the late 1990s, banks and home builders speculated that as they grew into adulthood, that Generation X wanted more than anything else was a sense of community stability and permanence, both domestically and in employment. And boy, did they not fucking get that.
No, I was gonna say, is the DR like is Generation X what the DR just is now?
No, I mean most of the DR I feel like is millennial and Zoomer.
No. I just mean in spiritually.
Oh, spiritually. I don't know. Like I honestly think that there's never going to be a Gen X president. I don't think we're going to get one.
No, they've been passed over. It's
Harris was their best fucking shot.
It's time to advance. Get it?
Nice. I really hope they don't go with that as a slogan because that's fucking terrible. That's miserable.
Advance.
Ads for Vance. We're gonna add Vance. Shut the fuck up.
No. You see, because his name is Vance. Tim, I swear to God.
I am in favor. Gabe has mentioned Gore accelerationism. I'm just saying I advocate for any policy that will get me to gore sooner. I realize it's basically fucking John Carter fan fiction. Like it's just a rehash of John Carter, but like more horny.
Where? Why haven't I read these books?
You haven't? There's
No, I haven't.
39 of them or something.
Oh, wait. Are these the John Ringo books, or is that something else?
No. John
Because
Norman.
John Ringo is
John Ringo is
slop
trash.
kings.
Yeah, John Ringo is trash. But the John Norman Gore books are they're enjoyable. They're not great, but they're enjoyable.
And then she boobed boobily in the boob cave.
Yes. They wolfed Wolfly in the wolf den.
He truck bombily in the truck bomb.
Oh man. Hold on.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Cap is doing right now, if you go into Goodreads, you can just make up quotes. They don't fact check it. You can add a quote to any book that isn't even in there, and it'll stay up there forever. Ask me how I know.
He does know. Yeah, I mean because T.R. Hudson, author of The Perfect and the Wicked, the best quote from that book is they wolfed Wolfly in the wolf den, which is also a quote from Julius Evola's Ride the Tiger
and Ta-Nehisi Coates.
No, you're thinking of Ibrahim X Kendi.
Oh, sorry, black guy.
Yep. All right. So, on becoming John Rambo. By the early 1980s, the economy of Western New York, in recession for decades, had reached an all-time low. Within the city of Buffalo and its outlying areas, flour and steel mills and auto factories closed, leaving thousands without jobs. Part of a larger pattern of deindustrialization nationwide. Fucking tell me about it. Unemployment rates reached record heights as wages, property values, and the area's population declined drastically. The cityscape of Buffalo was quickly decaying into a landscape of despair. The streets appeared deserted, buildings were abandoned, and houses boarded up. Buffalo's civic spirit seemed decimated by the economic blight, and its populace suffered from a shared inferiority complex.
And then they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
It's amazing that they still have a team, actually.
No, because they love the Bills. They just
it's just amazing that Buffalo is not a big town.
No, it's not.
And it's not like
but it
and
used
it's
to be. That's the worst part. Is it was a boom town for a long time, and it was, it was awesome.
But it's also not like they. But the thing is that the Bills can actually fucking leave. Unlike say the Green Bay Packers can't leave, like literally cannot leave. So, which is actually how all pro sports teams should be.
We're the San Antonio Bills now.
All of the all the pro sports teams, as an aside, all the pro sports teams should be organized like the Green Bay Packers. You should not be able to pick those teams up and leave. And they should belong to the municipality.
Yeah, and college sports should have relegation, just like English Premier League soccer.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like instead of the divisions?
Well, no. Like, okay, so it should be localized divisions, right?
Okay.
But then also you have relegation. So, like, let's say Alabama has a terrible year and they don't win a game. They actually go down to Division II, and whoever the Division II SEC school who is the champion, they get relegated to like SEC.
Okay. So the thing is that all the like really good universities, I mean, most of the really good universities have really terrible sports programs.
Yeah, no, I get it. We're way too far gone for that. But this is like when Based World happens, this is what will.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Woodpit 420. I also have seen basketball. The Jazz moved to Utah, where they don't allow free expression.
There's no Utah in jazz. There's no jazz in Utah. let's see. Harrison Motors, which employed both Ed and Bill McVeigh, itself subject to cutbacks and layoffs, was no longer a reliable option for recent graduates like Tim. Increasing numbers of area high school students dropped out, or if they did graduate, chose not to pursue higher education, as college did not guarantee employment. Wow, that's fucking smart of
The
them.
more
I wish.
things, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Well, yeah, but all the millennials went.
Yeah.
You know, having earned a small state scholarship, Tim enrolled in computer programming classes at nearby Bryant and Stratton Business College. He received a 99 on the school's math aptitude test, the highest in the school's history, and failed to achieve a perfect score by only fractions.
He has a plaque in the school.
Within a few short months, however, he began to feel unchallenged, grew bored, and quit. He later explained, "I knew as much as most of the teachers. I wanted to learn the why of things, not just the what." Yeah, Bryant and Stratton Business College. What are the
Dude,
odds
he
of that?
honestly probably could have gone to like MIT or something.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that he would have done well at a top university,
Like an engineering school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys build your truck bombs, Tim?
Tim, why do you keep? I've built a device to calculate the volume, the volume of fertilizer that
it's an app.
Yeah. Fertilize.
You just take a picture of the inside of a Ryder truck, and it tells you how much fertilizer it can fit.
God. The majority of biographical accounts emphasize that Tim's love and later obsession with guns originated from the intense bond he shared with his grandfather. But those who knew the McVeigh family noted that he also shared his interest in weapons with his mother. Oh my God.
She likes a big gun.
No shit. When Tim was 18, Mickey noticed that he also shared his. When Tim was 18, Mickey returned briefly to the Buffalo area, applied for a pistol permit, and convinced him to do so as well. In April 1987, on his 19th birthday, he applied for and received a New York State concealed firearms permit. For both Mickey and Tim, guns may have been a symbolic cure for the ill-defined, elusive, yet impending threats felt by both, and for him, a form of preventative self-defense. Yeah, I mean that's what a concealed carry permit is. It's a preventative self-defense.
I don't know how much of this is Wendy thinking that it's important that we know it, and how much of it is like her ignorance around such things.
Right. Yeah, because
I mean, this book is exhaustive, so you would expect her to spell a bunch of obvious stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but I mean, what else would you think a CCW is?
Yeah.
All right. Having decided that guns were a better investment than comic books, typically true,
know.
Tim sold his sizable collection that, as a boy, he had considered his college fund. He got a job working at the Johnson Country Store, a gun shop in his hometown of Lockport, and along with his friend Dave Darlack, purchased 10 acres of land in Olean, New York, where Tim sometimes spent days camping and firing his guns on the shooting range the two had built. That's super based.
Yeah.
In the
Can't do that no more.
In the fall of 1987, 10 acres, 10 acres of unbuilt land in a, say an unarable area. It's really not that expensive.
Yeah.
You'd probably get that for under $15,000.
Wow. I gotta start land surveying.
Let's see. In the fall of 1987, having given up on the idea of college, he got a second job as an armored truck driver at Burke Armored Security in Buffalo. Tim bragged that his co-workers nicknamed him the Kid because I could outshoot virtually everybody. Probably it was because he was the youngest.
He didn't have a hair on his face.
Yeah.
We used to call him the annoying kid, but that was too wordy, so we just started calling him the Kid.
And he really misinterpreted that. His fascination with firearms emerged within the broader context of an American gun culture and the growing survivalist movement. All presidential candidates during the 1988 elections were members of the National Rifle Association, and there were firearms in nearly half of all American homes, with a reported 60 million handguns and 10,000 machine guns in circulation. Throughout,
R.I.P.
yeah, no
80s.
shit.
R.I.P. America.
Yeah. Fuck you, Reagan. Fuck you, Reagan, for closing the machine gun registry.
Project 2025 will solve that.
Yeah, well,
we can't even get a bump stock.
You can actually just, fuck. You could, they really need to repeal that. They need to reopen the machine gun registry.
I don't feel safe without a Ma Deuce.
I just want to be able to get a Fitty that isn't $150,000.
I'm running every time I buy a coat hanger. I'm not going to finish that.
Yeah. Let's see. Throughout the country, a growing number of ordinary citizens purchased 9mm pistols, 22 automatics, 45s, 12-gauge shotguns, Uzis, MP5s, 9mm submachine guns, untold rounds of ammunition, armor-piercing shells, and shot at old TVs, computers, and paper targets depicting commies and the Ayatollah Khomeini. These weekend warriors, the Washington Post noted in 1985, had joined paramilitary groups, terrorists, survivalists, and neo-Nazis. By his late 20s, Tim McVeigh would be associated with and come to represent all of these types of people. Oh my God. That's like a little Dark Age edit. Like just flipping through these lists of things. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you really can tell that, like, while good old Wendy is a very good researcher and extremely thorough.
She's
just knew anything about guns.
No, she's a total lib.
Yeah. Let's see. Reinforcing the widespread American bunker mentality at this time were widely popular television shows like Magnum P.I., The A-Team, Airwolf, and MacGyver.
I've not seen Airwolf.
I have not seen Airwolf, but I love the name. That featured heroic narratives about the exploits of often resentful, disgruntled, renegade Vietnam veterans.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Firing at pictures of AA.
No, I thought he looked more like what's his name? Saddam Hussein instead of the Ayatollah.
He does. That's so true. Perhaps important to the construction of stories McVeigh would later tell, the A-Team consisted of 4 former members of Army Special Forces crack commando unit who had fought together in Vietnam. After a superior officer framed them for a bank robbery in Saigon as part of a political ploy, they were convicted and sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. After escaping from a maximum security stockade, the A-Team found refuge in the Los Angeles underground. Now forced to live on the run, hunted by military police and intelligence officers, they survive as soldiers of fortune. Despite being wanted by the government, each week the A-Team, out of the kindness of their heart, came to the rescue of the innocent and wronged citizens who sought out their help. I mean,
dude, the A-Team was so cool. It was such a good show.
It is.
And yeah, it really was like the big break for Mr. T.
It's like it's multiracial, like bro squad.
All the hired goons were white dudes.
Before it became gay to have one black friend. Hollywood joined. Also, by the way, Timothy McVeigh did just go ahead and mention that he liked LeVar Burton's character and didn't even mention the race.
Right.
Like,
I wish I were LeVar Burton.
I wish I was LeVar Burton because he's got that super cool visor and he knows how to read.
Where's my iconic slave role?
Oh, man. I pity the fool that sends me to Saigon prison. And
The woke have ruined having black friends.
the woke ruined having black friends. So true. So true. Yeah, I always feel embarrassed whenever I hang out with my buddy Uncle Ruckus. Hollywood joined in, generating millions of dollars in ticket sales and merchandise for films such as The Deer Hunter, Apocalypse Now, Platoon, and Full Metal Jacket. That's like a decade. That's like a decade span of films.
Yeah, I never got much Deer Hunter merchandise.
Yeah, I wonder what
This is the same pistol that
this is the
they used to
bandana
kill
and the
themselves.
snub nose revolver they used to play Russian roulette.
This is the wheelchair that the one guy was in.
While traditional war films told stories of soldiers banding together to defeat common enemies, post-Vietnam blockbuster films centered on recurring themes of missing POWs abandoned by their government, traumatized and deranged combat vets plagued by debilitating flashbacks. Miley's killer zombies come home, dripping blood and lunacy, a metaphor for madness itself. These films aim to resolve lingering conflicts surrounding the country's recent humiliating and shameful war by telling fictionalized versions of historically uncomfortable tales, thereby conquering the collective nightmare of the Vietnam War through the construction of shared national fantasies and newer mythologies about it. The hyper-masculine, hyper-violent war hero action films of the 1980s depicted macho protagonists who face Herculean obstacles and challenges, but who nevertheless display military heroism, selflessness, camaraderie, and principled dedication to a cause larger than themselves, as the highest form of life. In this newer generation of war film, the hero, willing to use any means at his disposal, positions himself at the forefront of chaotic violence and, for the most part, prevails in the end. Yeah, I mean, so we're kind of like we're kind of at the point where we ought to be getting a bunch of like Great War on Terror movies.
Well, no, we got a bunch, but they're all like really, really gay and
Well, like Three Kings.
no, no. That was Three Kings was Persian Gulf.
Right, but yeah, and it was during the Great War on Terror. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, we got we got American Sniper, we got Lone Survivor, what was the one where they killed Osama bin Laden? Zero Dark 30.
Oh, Zero Dark 30.
They did the really, really terrible one that like won a bunch of awards, Hurt Locker. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean we're also not getting like so we're about to like go into the truly fictionalized one. So like technically, you could say like Predator is a movie in this, this sort of like recovering from Vietnam, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, no. We need to we're going to be in a bit of a malaise for a bit. We might get some like really interesting, like if they did an adaptation of Samuel Finlay's Breakfast with the Dirt Cult. They never will, but if they did, that'd be, pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess we got John Wick, but that's not thematically.
EL, the Jake Gyllenhaal movie with the transit. What the hell is that called? That was actually good.
Haven't seen.
And it's complete. It's complete fantasy, but no, it's a good film. What the fuck is that called? There was also the Aaron Taylor Johnson one called The Wall, where that wasn't bad either.
Maybe I just don't pay attention to current movies. Maybe that's my problem. And we did.
Yeah, no, you gotta go. You gotta go to the slop factory.
I go to the gotta go to the slops. The most notable of these films was the Rambo series, First Blood Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. In them, the protagonist, John Rambo, emerges as a symbol of restored masculinity, betrayal, and revenge in the aftermath of Vietnam. While criticized for its revisionist cliche and jingoistic depictions of an ultra-macho, all-American vengeance wrecker, a nationwide Rambo fever emerged, nonetheless, as evidenced by millions in box office sales. Tim, too, had caught Rambo fever, and the affliction would soon consume him.
Ask me how I know she didn't see the first Rambo film.
I got a fever.
And the only prescription is
It's
more
more
Rambo.
Rambo.
No, but First Blood Part 1 is not that at all. It's actually like a really interesting character study of a dude who was used by his government and thrown away. It's a beautiful film that is not like the others at all. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of messed up that she includes it here. It just doesn't fit with what she's like. Yeah, First Blood Part 2 and 3 totally. The later Rambo films also very much like that. There's one where he just loves killing. I think they're
I just love
Cambodian.
killing.
Yeah, no, I think they're Cambodians, but there's literally one scene where he just like from close range just destroys this dude with a 50 caliber machine gun. Oh, it's great.
Just
Yeah.
pink mist.
Literally, he just becomes chunks.
Blah. Instant jibs like Quake 2.
Yeah, it's a mounted 50 caliber machine gun on the back of a Jeep, and he sneaks up, he kills the guy shooting the machine gun, and there's a guy in the driver's seat, so he just turns the gun
and
shoots the guy from behind. It's great film.
Man, you just kill the guy driving the Warthog. Ugh. It was at this time that Tim, an avid reader, first encountered and began to devour a new type of literature, highly influenced by post-Vietnam cultural imaginings. Hoping to develop his marksmanship further, he began frequenting local gun clubs and area shooting ranges where, according to Stickney, members subscribed to literature whose content ranges from information on various weapons to right-wing paranoia pamphlets that claim that the federal government's main goal in the future is to disarm America. He gravitated towards publications such as Soldier of Fortune magazine. By the way, if you have never seen an old back issue of Soldier of Fortune, it is the fucking coolest shit ever.
Are
They
those on
literally
Archive?
What?
Are those on archive.org?
Yeah, you can find them. And like there's literally ads for like become a mercenary.
Yeah.
Like and you could actually do it.
No, well, you think you could actually do it, or do you think they were?
No, you could. They were real. They were absolutely real.
Oh, that's awesome.
That describes itself as pro-Second Amendment, U.S. military, strong U.S. defense, police, and veterans, ardent supporters of the basic freedom of mankind, and against tyranny of all kinds. Soldier of Fortune, criticized for its unabashed anti-leftist leanings, backings of Nicaraguan Contra rebels, and recruitment of American mercenaries to train them, had attracted a growing number of readers, many of whom, while too young to have fought in Vietnam, grew up viewing images of it in popular media. The magazine appealed also to the increasing numbers of survivalists who, like Tim, hoped to learn the tricks of staying alive after the collapse of civilization. The Soldier of Fortune also had, if you're familiar with the gun manufacturer Cobra, they made a bunch of really like dog shit but fairly inventive guns. One of which was a drum mag semi-auto or drum mag pump action shotgun called the Street Sweeper.
Oh yeah.
That and there were ads that ran in Soldier of Fortune magazine. If you've ever seen that thing that's like commence street sweeping, only when your cover is blown should you commence street sweeping operations. Like if you've ever seen that meme, which gets posted on 4chan's K board all the time, that is from Soldier of Fortune.
Okay,
so
cool.
this magazine is based as fuck.
I'm on their website right now, and it seems that they have changed.
Oh, no longer based. Now it's Soldier of Feminization.
You too can teach feminist literature studies in Afghanistan.
Ensure trans rights in Uzbekistan. All right. Soldier of Fortune and other similar publications soon became a permanent staple of his literary diet. And then one day, for no reason at all, And then one day, in the back of Soldier of Fortune, Timothy McVeigh found an advertisement for the 1978 book, The Turner Diaries, written under the pseudonym Andrew MacDonald by former physics professor William Pierce, founder of the National Alliance, one of the most notorious and highly organized racist organizations in the country. Set in the not too distant future, the book contains the fictitious diary entries of Earl Turner, who believes that increased multiculturalism and restrictive gun ownership legislation, the Cohen Act, uh, it's the Cohen Act is only in one set of ellipses, poses a threat to the white race, whom the Jews and their minions, the blacks, hope to enslave and annihilate in order to establish a Zionist-occupied government, Zog. Turner
we might need to use some YouTube speak now.
Yeah. Turner organizes underground cells to wage war on the system by committing acts of terror, including assassinations and bombings, in order to destroy the repressive government, eradicate the non-white population, and establish a utopian white homeland in the Northwest United States. Turner and his gang of white freedom fighters achieved success after using a truck bomb to destroy a supercomputer housed in an FBI building, which tracks and databases all U.S. citizens, especially those who, like Turner, opposed Zog.
So there is an old Coast to Coast AM episode with, like, shortly after, I think it was either the sentencing or the trial for McVeigh, and the guest was William Luther Pierce.
Wow,
I think I
really?
sent it to you. I think I sent it to you, actually.
Oh, okay. I did not listen to that.
Really, really interesting stuff. And the whole time, Art is like, so, this is just like your book. He uses a truck bomb, and Pierce the whole time, he's like, actually, mine was fiction, blah, blah, blah. Just because you use a truck bomb, it was kind of weaselly, but you could...
he was just like disavow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, yeah. I guess the supercomputer was on the other side of the Murrah building.
But it's funny because he was well actuallying the whole time.
Well, yeah.
Actually,
even though it's like literally
fertilizer.
the same, even though it's like literally the same thing. For groups like Pierce's National Alliance, the concept of Zog, or the formation of an all-white homeland, was a central ideological tenet of the larger growing white power movement, who praised the Turner Diaries for its prophetic wisdom and sought with surprising success to spread its message to impressionable, disaffected American youth. During the late 1980s, the white power movement spokespeople began to attract attention in mainstream media, thereby further garnering alienated followers. As the WPM grew in numbers, so too did the frequency of hate crimes and WPM participant arrests. Considered a Bible by various white supremacy groups, the Turner Diaries also gained a larger audience within the broader white ring paramilitary circles. While disparate, their ranks included Second Amendment advocates, survivalists, common law and sovereign citizen groups, constitutionalists, and disgruntled farmers.
It's always the farmers.
Always the farmers.
All of whom gravitated. South African?
Yeah, right. All of whom gravitated to the book's unabashed pro-gun message and anti-government themes. What is it? It's like proximity to corn really makes you like widely referred to later as the blueprint for the Oklahoma City bombing. By all accounts, Timothy McVeigh became obsessed with the Turner Diaries, and its influence upon the formation of his political and racial ideologies is undeniable. The Turner Diaries, he said, not only helped him understand his coworkers' racism, but exposed me to racism I wasn't familiar with. It's very, very anti-black. All these new kinds of racism. The many, he was
welcome to the racism lab.
What
the diversity of racism.
You're opening to like looking at the diverse, equitable, and inclusive kinds of racism. It's like that meme where it's like it's amazing how accepting the racist community is. As long as you're being racist, they don't care what race you are.
Never ask a right wing or the race of his girlfriend.
Yeah, or wife in my case. But later, he realized everyone is an individual. He said that prior to working at Burke, I didn't have a racist bone in my body. And then all of my friends' wives had my racist bone in their body.
And then one day, for no reason at all.
Let's see. And was oriented more towards the survivalist crowd. Put away your food supplies for a year. Get ready for whatever disaster would be coming along, nuclear, natural. Burke was the first time I ever was exposed to racist comments. From them, I learned the vernacular.
I think he has autism.
Yeah, I know. From them, I learned the vernacular of racism. I picked up on the gamer words. Publications like Soldier of Fortune and the Turner Diaries bolstered his already existing survivalist leanings. They exposed him to and familiarized him with previously unknown subcultural realms and ideas, provided new models for him to draw from in the shaping of his identity, and ultimately played a pivotal role both in the commission and narrative constructions of the OKC bombing and other acts of violence by the extreme right. In a sense, McVeigh made real the deeds of the fictional Earl Turner. Meanwhile, Burke quickly promoted the responsible and trustworthy 19-year-old Tim McVeigh, assigning him to high-profile sites, including Buffalo Federal Reserve Bank, despite his occasional juvenile antics and increasingly odd behavior. Tim had started out as a good employee, but for whatever reason, his parents' divorce, his failure at college, his inability to connect with women, or maybe his indulgence in survivalism, he began having problems. His coworkers at Burke saw a Timothy McVeigh most high school students never knew, a man influenced by war and weapon literature, angry over his home life and living in a survivalist fantasy world. I mean, like, I wonder if you could, you get a degree in advanced racism studies, international racism theory. What are the many kind? Let's see, racist praxis studies, like
racist theory, race theory, critical race theory,
applied racism, applied racism theory.
Miscegenation and its consequences
has been, it's wonderful. Strongly hate most races, love race mixing. It's like I hate people, but I love gatherings. According to his supervisor, Tim was a good, reliable employee who always did his job. Tim, he recalled, had a fascination with armored cars, described himself to others as a survivalist.
I wonder how much fertilizer I could put in this armored car.
And told of his hopes to build his own underground bunker someday. EL, what have we learned?
If you're gonna build an underground bunker, don't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, don't just don't just talk about it.
Oh wow, he went with 5 ellipses on that one. He must be really, he really must want us to move on.
Disavow. No, I just want the bunker. I don't care how much fertilizer it can hold.
Stop selling me fertilizer.
His you obviously work for Big Fertilizer Bomb. And told of his hopes to build his own underground bunker someday. His co-workers remembered his interest in guns, his impressive collection of firearms. He always carried 1 or 2 on him. This is my backup gun, and the backup gun for my backup gun, and this is my gun's gun. And that he was one of the best marksmen on the shooting range, a true crack shot.
They called him the Kid.
He was a crack shot because he practiced on crack heads during the crack epidemic, a smokable form of cocaine. Sometimes they said he tried to be funny, and once showed up to work dressed like Rambo, decked out in camouflage and ammunition belts crisscrossed over his chest, looking like he was ready for World War III. Except he was like skinny as fuck. So, like, I mean, Timothy McVeigh was a real lanky dude.
He was lathy.
Yeah, that would not be a I feel like that wouldn't actually be a strong
Or,
word.
or as the Irish say, he was wiry.
Wary. He was a wary one. Sneak through a keyhole. Actually, I got a little Jamaican there.
Sneak through the keyhole, man.
Sneak through the keyhole. Call me now. Despite his earlier praise, upon further reflection, his supervisor recalled that two of the other men assigned to ride with Tim complained that occasionally he put on earplugs and turned the radio up to its highest volume. In fact, he added, Tim once threatened to blow up the house of neighborhood children who had thrown snowballs at his truck. Do you have any idea how much fertilizer can fit in this truck?
They have no idea how much fertilizer I can put in this truck.
They're not calculating.
Yeah. Imagine if he's like Rain Man, but instead of like looking down, and
it was just the volume of fertilizer that could fit in.
50 square feet.
So real for that one. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck them kids. Yeah, Woodput. Yes, it was Miss Cleo. Call me now. There was recently a documentary on Miss Cleo.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
It's actually great. She lesses out. She lesed out apparently. Yeah. Well, I mean, she's like a giant woman. I mean, she looked she looked like a troon. Yeah. I mean, no, she was like she was like 6.5 feet.
She was a unit.
Yeah, she was an absolute fucking mutant. But yeah, not Jamaican either. Totally fake.
What?
Yeah, and not Jamaican, just an actress. No, it's definitely worth watching. Despite,
and you're going to tell me that she didn't tell the future.
No, she did. That was real. That part was real.
Good.
No, and it was actually she. You couldn't even get her. It was you're just calling someone else. So, but yeah,
some other person with a really shitty Jamaican accent.
Exactly. But yeah, no, despite the gayness and all of the women that are in it, it's actually a good documentary. It's very funny. Let's see.
The show, Miss Cleo.
The show, Miss Cleo. Co-workers said that at some point he began to act increasingly high-strung, hyperactive, jumpy, erratic, intense, and began carrying more guns with him to work than he could ever possibly need. His temper had grown shorter, and some days he became angry at the drop of a hat, only to just as quickly calm down again. Other days he was silent and acted like an introverted. What?
Maybe he was on trend.
He was on the crack. He was definitely never on trend. Oh my god, that guy had no muscle mass. I mean, he was
carrying all those bags of fertilizer would make him strong.
He was definitely he was definitely cardio fit, especially as we get into his military service.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a
he was definitely fit as fuck, but he was never jacked. Yeah. He definitely did not roid.
Which, I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the make of a lot of special forces dudes. They are whitey. They are very.
Oh yeah.
They can run forever, but they look like who's the Japanese guy? Not Musashi. The dude who tried to overthrow the government in the 50s. Sun and Steel.
Yeah. Why am I stroking out?
Miyazaki? Chat.
No. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? How did you do it? Yukio Mishima. Holy shit.
Wow.
You did this. You did this to me. You drained it from my brain. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, chat.
Thank you. Chat
comes through, and they're all like Mishima, of course.
Why are we listening to these retards? They don't even know who
fucking assholes who don't know who Mishima is. Yeah, sorry, we failed you.
I did that
pardons.
Like 3 or 4 podcasts in a row where I couldn't remember who Raymond Chandler was.
Oh yeah, I've never been into detective fiction actually, so.
No.
I've never read a Raymond Chandler novel. Actually, you know what? Coincidentally, I've also never read a Larry McMurtry, and it was in a group chat or something with you.
It was in Adam's group chat.
Yeah, But my brother-in-law has a first edition of it. I might read it. But
nice. Yeah, make sure that you ruin it.
uh,
So
penultimo, learning about Moan pushed Mishima out of Cap's head. Yes, I have absolutely destroyed my memory for important things. The things that are in my mind are like supremely irrelevant or related to my job, and that's basically it.
how much fertilizer could fit in this room?
Owen Zaleski, Mishima does have a lot of semi-nude photos, so it makes sense that his body type comes to mind for a closeted man like trans rights Hudson.
Hey, he didn't write that last part. Totally normal for anybody to come to that conclusion.
Completely the lady doth protest too much. I don't know.
I didn't protest all that much. I protested a normal
I protested
amount.
a reasonable amount, a normal amount of protest. Let's see.
It'd be funny if they do like a women's march too, and then Donald Trump just goes like, he thinks the ladies doth protest too much.
Yeah, I think they like me. His temper had grown shorter, and some days he became angry at the drop of a hat, only to just as quickly calm down again. Other days he was silent and acted like an introverted, preoccupied loner. According to McVeigh, though, if he had acted oddly, it was due to overwhelming amounts of stress, partly from working 2 jobs. This left him worn down and sleep deprived, a state known to induce erratic and paranoid behavior. He would use this excuse to explain similar observations made by others.
Why did he have 2 jobs?
Yeah, that's a good question.
To keep him from going postal.
Right. One of the jobs was as a postal worker. It was during this time, McVeigh reflected, that he grew disenchanted by the mundane and developed an overwhelming personal desire for a larger purpose in life, a warrior's code of honor as depicted in films like Rambo. He sought structure, purpose, camaraderie, and guns. Later, he could and did cite long passages from the Turner Diaries from memory and evoked a particular favorite one to illustrate his growing sense of oppression. The chains that bind us are formed slowly, one link at a time, so we never notice the additional weight of one additional link, but eventually it forms a chain. That is, I read the Turner Diaries a while ago, but I didn't recall that being such a poorly. I didn't recall it being
good.
that bad.
It's
no,
really...
just in terms of prose, that sentence is a fucking mess.
Yeah, well, and you know, the guy was a science nerd. He wasn't
right. Yeah, stem cell.
Stem cell. No, if you would have given it to like David Herod, then the prose would have come out like really pretentious and stuff.
Oh my God, Owen Zaleski. His second job is making fertilizer bombs. You know, never make your passion your job. You know?
Yeah, they always tell you to chase your passion and that you don't work a day in your life if you do what you love. But that's just not true. You end up hating what you love.
Yeah. The whole like, you know, he was really like sort of patient zero for the whole millennial hustle culture kind of thing. You know?
I wonder if he went to it like when he trick-or-treated as a kid, if he was just like, hey, you guys got any fertilizer?
It's just like, all I got was candy. I'm gonna have to compost this so I can get more fertilizer.
Put the fertilizer in the bag, ma'am.
Let's see. McVeigh said, I love that passage. It was right on. Most Americans could. I love that passage, press. It was right on. Most Americans could give a shit as long as they have a 6-pack of beer and their TV is working.
Hey, what's wrong with that? No, you know what? I've gone like full 360 on this, where I used to be like, what's wrong with that? Then I kind of hated it, and I'm back to what's wrong with that.
You're back to let people enjoy things.
Yeah, make America boring again. It should only be aristocrats of the soul like myself and Gabe who run things, while everybody else has their bread and circuses, and life is good for them.
Let America grill again. For God's sake,
grill.
we just wanted to grill. You wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they are doing some interesting things with grill technology these days. Have you seen what a Traeger is? It's like a spaceship for
I
grilling.
fucking hate Traegers.
No,
I
know,
want to be able to
it's
burn
bullshit.
anything. I want to be able to burn anything.
It's not fair if I it's like, bowling with the bumpers on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just want like I'm a big green egg fan. I stand the big green egg.
Yeah, it's the one you shove up your ass.
Big green egg vibrator. Yes. Let's see. So the other thing is that this is not really an insightful, like, so he could quote that passage from memory, but he says, I love that passage. It was right on. Most Americans could give a shit as long as they have a 6-pack of beer and their TV is working.
Yeah, it's not like, exactly, the book of John.
Yeah, exactly. In a greater time, men would memorize the Bible. On May 12th, 1988.
Sorry, I went back one. I just wanted the chains that bind us are formed slowly, one link at a time, so we never notice the additional weight of one additional link, but eventually it forms a chain. That sentence in and of itself is a chain.
Yeah, we never notice an additional clause. But eventually, yeah. No, it's like you shouldn't have used chains twice. You shouldn't have used additional twice. It's just really whatever.
Read Automaton by T.R. Hudson for superior writing.
On May 12th, 1988, shortly after his 20th birthday, Timothy McVeigh alone drove to the Federal Building in Buffalo, New York, walked into the Army recruiter's office, and informed the recruiter of his desire to become an airborne ranger, Green Beret, or member of the Special Forces. The man assured him he could pursue his vision once he completed basic. And he enlisted.
Just sign on the line.
Sure, yeah, you'll be Special Forces, kid. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I get $500 if you sign here. And so he enlisted in the U.S. Army, took his general aptitude test that same day, and his physical a few days later. According to his enlistment documents, he was 6'1" and 150 pounds. Fucking lanky. A 6'1", 150-pound guy who, like, trying to dress like Rambo is going to look retarded.
Yeah, when I'm 6 foot, and when I graduated basic, that was my most svelte, and I was still like 160.
Well, McDonald's doesn't fry in tallow anymore, so
no, they don't. Yeah. Hey! I was svelte. I was
I
was a real Mishima.
That's borderline underweight, actually. So, according to he was 150 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes, 20/20 vision. He was in good health and having no prior medical or dental issues, no allergies, and no prescribed medications.
Penultimo, that is a great comment.
Just walk in there and give them a firm handshake. They'll name you a Green Beret on the spot. That's how it was for the boomers.
Anyone could just be a Green Beret.
Yep.
Now you need 10 years of experience.
Yep. Now you need 10 years of experience to be a private. Childhood friend Sam Dangler, name changed. You changed it to Sam Dangler.
Imagine he reads this. He's like, "Is that supposed to be me?"
His name was Steve Hungus. Said that growing up,
Chungus?
Big Chungus, Steve Hungus. Tim had been a very pro-government type of individual. He was a fan of Ronald Reagan and at 18 registered with the Republican Party, so his decision to join the military made sense. According to Steve Hodge, though, it was not patriotism that propelled him, but his interest in survivalism. Tim believed the Army could provide the best weapons and survival training. Wrong. His legal team believed that he joined the Army seeking truth and to fill a central core of meaning absent within him. Brandon Stickney honestly it seems more plausible. Brandon Stickney thought his decision was influenced by the works of fiction he devoured, that depicted the heroics of war and led him to believe his future lay in commanding men in distant lands he'd only ever read about. Or perhaps Stickney
That's what got me.
continued, really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
You just
watched
wanted Band of Brothers?
yeah, basically, I wanted to, I wanted to be the guy. I don't know, but yeah, it was
You wanted
basically
to be the top guy?
I was going to be
I was going to be his
George
top guy.
Bush's top guy.
It's going to be George Bush's top guy. Oh man, chat, you've been busy. Thank you so much for Richard and Harry Dangler. uh, uh,
Richard Dangler. That could be a good
good old Dick Dangler.
some
Commanding men in Minecraft. In Minecraft, right? Yeah.
a last stand in Minecraft.
You really that you just wanted to die. You were just seeking a way to die.
Son, suicide is faster.
I considered joining the army so that I could get the best possible anti-hammer training. Boy, was I wrong.
They just kept throwing hammers at me.
I'm still alive though, so let's see. Or perhaps, Stickney continued, Tim thought he would become a member of the elite forces, that special breed of man set apart from the rest, a man who is authorized for secret missions. Even Tim later acknowledged that he based his decision to join the army in part on his desire to buttress his survival skills and viewed it as equivalent to spending 4 years in college, but also on the powerful influence of his favorite movies, notably Rambo: First Blood and Missing in Action. Whatever his reasons for joining, while he claimed to be so at the time of his death, upon enlisting, Timothy James McVeigh was no longer fully the captain of his soul, nor master of his fate. Rather, he became the property of the United States Army, and the chains that would bind him. Yes, you're the property of the United States government.
Shut your third eye hole.
And that means shut your goddamn third eye for a reason. Rather, he became the property of the United States Army, and the chains that would bind him proved strong ones, indeed. Timothy McVeigh had just joined an experiment in progress, one from which perhaps psychologically he would never have an exit strategy. So yeah.
Thanks, Hunter.
God damn.
All right, let's get there. All right, so
what about love and peace and all that crap?
Who cares? You're gonna go to Special Forces heaven.
You're going to Special Forces heaven.
I'm going through some of these footnotes, folks. So take some screenshots if you like, but you should really pick up this book. It's
you should pick up this book, and to do so, you should use the Amazon affiliate link in the description of the video, so that we can get $1 every time.
No, wasn't Missing in Action the one with Chuck Norris?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no. So I don't think so. Woodpit. I don't think that was. I don't think that was Gene Hackman.
Yeah. Missing in the.
No. Oh, you're thinking Behind Enemy Lines. Woodpit. That's with Owen Wilson in the Bosnian War, and Gene Hackman.
Oh, really? Owen Wilson did a war movie? Fuck,
oh yeah.
I need to watch some of these.
It's not bad. He doesn't even say "wow" once.
Wow, that in and of itself deserves a wow.
Oh, we're getting shot down. Wow.
Wow. Oh wow.
Oh wow, they executed my partner. Wow.
Slobodan Milosevic. Wow. Oh wait. Is that the one where the sniper in the like fucking lit ass tracksuit?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's so good.
Yeah, no, it's a great and right at the end, he's like sliding on the ice, shooting an M1911.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a stupid film, but it's good. And the whole time you're like, wait, why were we bombing Bosnia?
There was a oh yes, here we go. There is a company called Commando Store that makes that makes like both original and sells surplus products. I just posted in chat a link to a exact replica of the tracksuit
Oh,
from
seriously? Oh, I
yeah
thought that was just a
from,
random
from that
Adidas
movie.
tracksuit.
No. It was like it was the Olympic. It was like an Olympic team tracksuit that had like a
Oh, that's
particular
awesome.
fleece jacket under it, and so they made like a perfect fucking replica of it.
Oh, dude.
It's so sick.
Oh,
It's
and
so
they
sick.
have you can buy the Gulf War Bart Simpson t-shirt with it in a bundle.
Yep. No, I mean it's super cool. I would never personally wear it though. Just not like that's not like the style of clothes that I wear. Not that any of you will ever
You need to
know.
you have to Slav squat when you wear it.
I do have the hip mobility to Slav squat for a very long time. The you can also I think these guys also sell Taliban sneakers, like literally sneakers made by the Taliban.
I wonder when
Uh,
these guys will do they'll link up with WBS apparel.
I don't know, man. Like these are like some weird. They also make this is unsponsored, by the way. We don't get anything.
Yeah, no, but
They're just fucking cool. They make replicas of Rhodesian boots, like perfect, like exactly like Rhodesian bush war
the
boots.
waxies.
Yep,
Ooh, I
that's
might
right.
have to. Oh man, all right, yeah, that's super.
I
Cool.
do have a pair of those, and those are fucking great.
What is Woodpit talking about? Uncommon Valor. I've never seen that one. Is that the movie you're talking about? Woodpit with Gene Hackman.
Let's see, Uncommon Valor, 1983. Yep, Gene Hackman.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So my bad.
Gene Hackman, Patrick Swayze, and Robert Stack. Haven't seen that one either.
Ooh, that's a good cast.
Yeah, man, it makes me want to see it. Yeah. You ain't never seen Point Break. So, yes, Woodpit, the Taliban shoes are called service cheetahs. They actually are. They literally are. That's their real name.
Fun.
All right. So we'll press on to merely chapter 2. There are only technically 4 chapters. So, chapter 2, the following records do not exist. Part 1, Avalanche of Decay, Wave of Mutilation.
Great
basic
sound,
training.
great band.
Yeah. Basic training, May 1988. Ceased to exist. While at the Buffalo Army Recruitment Center, McVeigh scored among the top 10 percentile on the General Technical Test. On May 30th, 1988, only days after enlisting, Timothy McVeigh began basic combat training at Fort Benning, Georgia. The self-proclaimed incubator for the world's finest combat soldiers and home to the U.S. Army School of the Americas. A recruitment error, however, landed him in the Experimental Cohesion Operations Readiness Training Cohort Unit. The cohort program kept soldiers together from basic training throughout their entire 3-year enlistment cycle, with the goal of unit cohesion, esprit de corps, advanced group training, and commitment to the unit's mission. While the military theorists proposed the idea that cohort units would lessen soldier turbulence as well as high levels of psychological breakdown in battle, previous attempts to form such units had led to higher rates of AWOLs and suicides. Assumedly, in an attempt to work out these kinks, the U.S. Army formed the cohort unit in which McVeigh now found himself. To his great dismay, and despite assurances to him by his recruiter, the cohort structure prevented recruits from volunteering for Special Forces, Ranger School, or even Airborne School for at least 3 years. If the recruiter had told Tim the truth about the programs he was headed for, Brandon Stickney wrote, McVeigh probably wouldn't have enlisted. This was only one of such errors and misrepresentations the Buffalo Army recruiter made in McVeigh's case. It
Yeah.
is fucking incredible. Like, if you want to just be like a savage fucking liar and face no consequences,
Become an Army recruiter.
yeah, go be a fucking recruiter.
Yeah, dude, totally. You can totally
Yeah,
become a Navy SEAL. Just sign on this dotted line and you'll be in the Army, and then you'll go right to the Navy SEAls.
yeah, you'll go right to the Well, I'm an Army recruiter, and the Navy SEAls are, part of the Army. You could say
Yeah,
technically,
in a wide enough context, sure.
it's little A Army, right? As in, like, all of the armed forces would be colloquially referred to as the Army, and I'm a big A Army recruiter, so it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. So you gotta be in for three. You gotta be in for a whole fucking. You gotta be
A
in
whole
for
enlistment.
a whole fucking enlistment before you get to do what you theoretically wanted. Also, it's kind of crazy. Like, you would think that you would only put the rerees in that one, right? No, I mean, like, honestly, like, you wouldn't want to, if he really was like a high scorer and like a great physical specimen, you probably wouldn't want to put him in.
Well, no, because again, you're thinking like somebody who like gives a shit.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
no. This is just numbers.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you get $500 for signing up this skinny kid to join the Army. So, he's gonna end up in a metal box for 3 years.
I wonder how much fertilizer I can fit.
I wonder. We already did the Bradley fighting. I wonder how much
I know, but
fertilizer I can fit in this
I thought you
recruiting
were
office.
talking about like a one of those coffins that they send you home in.
No, I don't know.
His last words were, "Put me in a coffin that can fit plenty of fertilizer."
Let's see. Mark Ham, criminologist at Indiana State University and former consultant for the Jones team, wrote that the Army's cohort experiment provided the mechanism and most important source of indirect support for the terrorism that would later occur in Oklahoma. In fact, he said, the conspiracy to bomb the Murrah Building could not have gotten off to a better start had it been orchestrated by the best and brightest at the Pentagon. In Ham's opinion,
How
Huh.
true.
What an odd thing to say.
What an odd sentence to put in there.
Yeah. In Ham's opinion, there would have been no conspiracy without the cohort program, for it was in basic training that Timothy McVeigh met Terry Nichols and Michael Fortier, who would become Tim's closest friends and cuckolds, and later his co-conspirators. All three had
friends
enlisted
and more lovers.
Eskimo brothers, you could even say. All three had enlisted on the same day in different states. McVeigh in New York, Nichols in Michigan, Fortier in Arizona. They were assigned to the cohort unit and placed together in a 6-man squad.
Maybe the real truck bomb was the friends we made along the way.
The real friends we made along the real friends were the truck bombs we made along the way. 33-year-old organic farmer and family man Terry Nichols had been hit. What is it? Why is it always the farmers?
Farmers hate America.
Farmers have access to fertilizer. Had been
it was
hit
a
hard
match
by
made in heaven. He loved fertilizer and he loved farming.
Hit hard by the Midwest farm crisis of the 1980s and faced the impending loss of his family farm. He joined the Army at the suggestion of his soon-to-be ex-wife, bitch. His fellow
Why don't you just go join the fucking Army?
You go join the Army. I hear that it's really easy to fuck other guys while your husband's in the Army. Honey. Well, I mean, that's a weird thing. That's a weird way to phrase it, but we're gonna lose the farm. So,
I mean, I just really like organic farming. He was an organic farmer in the 80s.
Yeah, that's actually incredibly based. Right? Yeah.
And he lost it. Now it's owned by Bill Gates, I bet. It's like covered in glyphosate.
Gates again.
William Fences strikes again.
His fellow soldiers described Nichols, the oldest man in the unit and chosen squad leader, as an introverted family man, spastic and nerdy. He quickly picked up the nicknames Pops and Old Man from the younger grunts who later, if they remembered him at all, described him as helpful, friendly, and outgoing. Well, there were only fucking 5 other guys in the unit. How could they not remember him?
Well, no, in the squad. That's the
Oh, in
squad. I
basic,
think
in basic.
there was a whole unit of these cohort guys.
Got it. One soldier said that while the mechanically inclined Nichols often acted dumb, in reality he was very intelligent and was always reading a book or fixing something. He recalled that after one commanding officer found Nichols to be extremely bright, he was assigned to headquarters. Another said Nichols was a very, very nervous person and appeared that he was the type who would never want to get into trouble. Nichols always wanted to tell on somebody if they did something wrong.
Who does he tell on? Who can I tattle on Tim for fucking my wife?
Right. I'm going to go tell Michael Fortier's wife. Well, did she seem like she liked it? Oh, she seemed like she loved it. You don't say.
Interesting.
What will I do with this information? Fortier, very different from the old-fashioned Nichols and an unlikely companion for the serious, clean-cut McVeigh, was a 20-year-old former long-haired, flannel-wearing, grungy, pot-smoking methamphetamine user described by fellow soldiers as blunt and outspoken in speech who, while humorous, had a bad attitude on account of being on meth.
Yeah, meth really, like, when you take meth, you always are a little on edge. Not really a people person when you smoke a lot of meth.
However mismatched, all three you would be talkative though. However mismatched, all three shared an interest in guns, adamantly opposed gun control legislation, had an attraction to the growing survivalist movement, and espoused anti-government values.
In the army.
Others like Brandon Stickney later wrote that from the very beginning of their acquaintance, Nicholas and McVeigh had something else in common: overt racism. Oh man, maybe the overt racists were the friends you made along the way. So true, King. The survivalists hard on. Yes. May to August 88. He just like me, for real. Yes, penultimo. In boot camp and throughout his time in the army, Tim McVeigh wrote home regularly to his friend Steve and his sister Jennifer. First, about the rigors
of... Dear Steve, do you have a wife?
Dear Steve, do you have a wife? Describe her favorite position. I will do it when I return. The rigors of boot camp, the developing feelings of camaraderie between himself and his fellow cohorts, and then with an increasing frequency about ongoing world events and politics. One letter detailed the typically horrible experience he had when exposed to CS gas during training, an experience that would haunt him later during the Waco siege and contribute to the deep sympathy he would feel for the victims. Yeah, probably fucking sucks. Yeah, tear gas probably fucking blows.
It does. It sucks. Well, actually, you know what? I'll take that. It sucks at first, and what they had us do in boot camp was they would make us take our gas masks off just to fuck with us a little bit, and that really sucked.
Yeah, could they tell if you didn't?
No, I mean, yeah. Well, you take it off.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they were like in there with you?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Ugh. I mean, that shit. If that shit just like gets on your skin, it's irritating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, but it's as far as biological chemical weapons go, not that bad.
Have you've experienced others?
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Oh, all right. Years after his arrest, McVeigh, a former member of Shinrikyo. Years after his arrest, McVeigh wrote to his biographers, "In basic training, when I was being conditioned and brainwashed, I recognized it. I knew it was happening to me, but I went along with it. In basic, when our platoon stood at attention, we had to snap to attention and say, 'Blood makes the grass grow. Kill, kill, kill.' Every time we came to attention, which must have been 20 times per day, we had to chant that. I had to prevent myself from smirking. I knew a lot of these guys around me weren't smart enough to pick up on it.
Wow, yeah, he's a real genius there. You
Yeah,
know,
real,
God, he would have been like one of those insufferable Rick and Morty fans
Well,
had
look,
he remained alive.
you have to
A
have
high
a pretty
IQ.
good a high IQ and an understanding of theoretical physics to understand the comedy of Rick and Morty.
God.
You understand that you need to be an actual quantum physicist to think it's funny when the
Wubba
old
lubba
man
dub dub.
says fuck. Yeah. Among the characteristically recurring themes to appear in his letters home was survival in the face of possible future disasters, his descriptions sometimes reaching apocalyptic homosexual heights.
Morty, I turned myself into fertilizer, Morty. I'm fertilizer Rick.
I'm gay fertilizer Tim. Demonstrative apocalyptic homosexual heights. I feel like that phrase needs to be used somewhere. Demonstrative of his lifelong interest in mysterious topics like the lost continent of Atlantis and the Bermuda Triangle was one early letter in which he discussed his belief that the predictions of Nostradamus alluded to Iran. When asked by his attorneys what he meant by this, he told them that
Nostradamus
at the
writes in
time
this.
he believed Iran would surely be the beast that starts the war.
You just don't understand. Nostradamus writes on this. You need to read more theory.
Nostradamus writes about this. Throughout the previous 8 years, the U.S. had publicly backed Iraq during the Iran-Iraq War. At the time, McVeigh entered boot camp, and in the months prior to his enlistment, the U.S. had launched naval strikes against Iranian oil operations. Secretly, however, the U.S. had been dealing weapons to Iran and supporting Saudi Arabia, the professed enemy of both. Indictments issued against Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North and Vice Admiral John Poindexter for their roles in what came to be known as the Iran-Contra scandal. Came to be known as the Iran-Contra scandal did not prevent former CIA director and Vice President George H.W. Bush from winning the Republican presidential nomination, despite Bush's own role in the debacle. Yes, despite. Despite is the word we want to use there. Despite is the word. Meanwhile, turmoil, natural and man-made, intended and accidental, foreign and domestic, dominated the headlines. Around the world, airplanes crashed, bombs exploded, and politicians were assassinated. The UK fought the IRA. The Palestinians fought the Israelis. The Soviets began economic restructuring, perestroika. Soon after, the Geneva, we didn't start exactly. The Geneva Accords convened, and while maintaining the highest defense budget on planet Earth, the U.S. economy was crashing. Wait a minute.
Wait, I thought this was Reagan.
What?
I thought this was Reagan. I thought the U.S. economy was like rising.
It was.
Then what's she talking about?
What? He said the highest defense budget on planet Earth. The economy was crashing. Well, there was the savings and loan crisis. So there was that. And there was also the flash crash. But I mean, overall, the Reagan economy was good. While impending cataclysms were nothing new to McVeigh, he was amazed at his new environment, having never before left his native region of upstate New York. A letter he wrote to Steve described his enjoyment of various training activities and late night, early morning guard duty. I looked into the sky. I thought I was looking at thin clouds, but holy shit, the sky was so clear. I could actually see the Milky Way. I could see every damn star in the universe. I could have sat in awe all night. The drought here gives this hardcore survivalist a hard-on. I only wish I was home in the middle of a possible catastrophe. The funny thing and terrible thing is the Army doesn't give a shit about water conservation, yet civilians are put on water restrictions. That's the government for you. During bivouac training, a hurricane hit near Fort Benning, and the medevac flew 4 people out. I had a hard-on. It was great. Mine was one of the few tents left standing at the end. I dug a drainage ditch on the outside better than the goddamn Romans. A tree blew over. The sand was blowing like snow in a whiteout. What a first-time experience. Storms here hit hard and fast. Some of the best electrical storms I've seen. This guy talks about his dick a lot. Twice in one letter is a lot. Twice in one letter is a lot.
Not a really good prose poet either.
Heavily influenced by the Turner Diaries. From this point,
hard-on that binds.
It's the hard-on that binds. The hard-on that binds us is formed slowly, blood cell by blood cell,
through the vasculars of your penis.
Yeah. From this point on, the content of McVeigh's letters home consistently included detailed descriptions of his hard-on and various weapons he was mastering, or the newest guns and ammo he had purchased or acquired, at times through theft of Army property. I mean, how do you steal a gun from the Army when you're in the Army on base?
Oh, very easily.
No. I mean, like,
at least back then. Now it's
but
impossible.
I mean, you haven't left yet. I'm just like, you haven't gotten it out of there. You know what I mean?
Just put it in the back of your car and then you drive it to like a friend's house or something.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
there's so much military crap that you could just buy like 50 feet from the base.
Oh, because some guy walked out with it?
Yeah.
Sometimes he sent ammunition back home for his nest egg, claiming it had gone unused during training anyways. He told Steve that while everybody else is getting laid, his plans for the 4th of July that year consisted of searching pawn shops for ammunition and fireworks.
And then getting laid.
And then fucking the wives of the pawn shop owners.
Well, the mice are away, the cat shall play.
I brought these fireworks, honey. In regard to Timothy McVeigh's life in the Army prior to the Gulf War,
Captain Kirk?
I consider myself more of a Picard, but for you, I will break the Prime Directive. 4 major themes consistently emerge within existing biographical accounts: his love of guns, interest in survivalism, an inclination towards racist literature, and his outstanding performance as an infantry soldier. It really doesn't actually seem like, we haven't mentioned any other books he read.
Yeah, no, I was just
like
thinking
comic books and the Turner Diaries. It's like, one book.
It's racist. It's like, okay,
you build a bridge, they don't call you Tim the Bridge Builder.
But you read one racist book.
Yep. Sorry, I lost my place. Inclination to racist literature and his outstanding performance as an infantry soldier. Archival sources reveal the existence of another pattern in his letters, however. A continued tendency to link sex with weapons, violence, and possible catastrophe, a quality which, while not a conventional Army value, was one perhaps possessed by only the best soldiers in the U.S. Army. When you were in, did you constantly write about your hard-on?
I did, especially to like my parents. I made sure that they knew.
Dear Mom and Dad, woke up turgid. Yeah.
You won't believe what happened this morning. I woke up and
polished my barrel, if you know what I mean. While you were busy getting laid, I was studying the ammo depot. Yeah. Premarital sex. His only real complaints during boot camp.
He doesn't believe in premarital sex. She has to be married before.
She needs to be married before I'll fuck her. Not to me, though. His only real complaints during boot camp, it seems, were commonly shared ones. Its exhausting physical demands and the traditional divide between officers and enlisted men. To Steve, he wrote, an NCO is a real man. Fuck those brain-dead officers. Chain of command is so fucked up. We get the order finally at 5 p.m. to unblouse our boots and take our BDUs off after the heat is gone. I just hit brain death. That's all. Despite his brain death, Timothy McVeigh and the U.S. Army seemed to be well suited to each other, and upon completion of basic training, he scored perfectly on all his health tests and qualified as an expert sharpshooter. Again, despite his brain death, Timothy McVeigh and the U.S. Army seemed to be well suited to each other. That's despite being used in a weird way again.
also, like, you know, he's like, oh, I know they're trying to brainwash me, but it's not going to work. Meanwhile, it works.
Avalanche of Decay. Wait, didn't we already use Avalanche of Decay? Did we not already? Oh no, that's the part one total.
Part one, Avalanche of Decay. There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
then it's basic training. But then we get subsection Avalanche of Decay. We're really
Come on,
Avalanche
Wendy.
of Decay is doing a lot of work here, guys. It's doing a lot of work.
It was such a good line. I had to use it twice.
Not a sandstorm of corrosion or
tsunami of destruction.
Yep. Mark Ham later noted that the Pentagon sealed Nichols and McVeigh's military records, therefore making the available portion of military service and medical records a rare addition to the Jones collection. Within the archival collection primarily, and supported by oral and other types of documentary evidence, a mysterious narrative emerges, which tells a different story about Timothy McVeigh, a story that runs parallel to, but whose details remain strikingly absent from those told previously. Timothy McVeigh joined the Army in part to hone his survival skills in the event of future disaster or cataclysm. Meanwhile, beginning in boot camp, a more elusive physiological deterioration began to occur. Briefly outlined here is a portion of this covert narrative that took place from May to October of 1988. On May 25th and 27th, after arriving at Fort Benning, McVeigh received a battery of standard and not so standard vaccines and immunization shots for tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella, smallpox, polio, flu, and 2 other shots meant to prevent acute respiratory disease called COVID-19. Now remember, this was 1988, called adenovirus type 4 and type 7. A week later, on the evening of June 6, 1988, at 9:40 p.m., McVeigh made the first of what would be many non-routine visits seeking medical attention. The attending doctor noted that McVeigh received a superficial abrasion after he tripped over the man in front of him while running in formation, and since then continued to feel dizzy. The doctor assigned him to light duty for the remainder of the day. About a month later, on July 10th, he wrote a letter to his mother and sister telling them that he had recently been feeling sick, was running a fever, and because of this, expected to receive a chest x-ray. In a separate letter, written 2 days later, on July 12th, he claimed to have come down with walking pneumonia, but said the doctor, at McVeigh's request, did not prescribe medication to him. He explained in a letter because he did not want to establish a medical profile.
Uh-oh.
He was self-treating with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. If he did indeed visit a doctor for a fever, an x-ray, or pneumonia, these visits remained undocumented in his medical records, a circumstance of vital importance later. Interestingly, he wrote home noting his objections to establishing a medical profile at the exact period when his lengthy and inexplicable profile, while incomplete, begins. The July 12th letter marks the first of a very few frank admissions Timothy McVeigh would make about his health or its official documentation.
Yeah, so later on, they actually found his doctor in the Army, and they gave him a podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience.
And that doctor was RFK Jr.
You don't need the vaccines.
You don't need the vaccines. The vaccines are how we blew up the Murrah
Do you want to
Building.
go falconing with me?
I got this voice because I went down on Diane Dream. It's actually communicable. His third and final documented medical interaction while in boot camp occurred on the morning of July 26, 1988, when he sought attention for muscle pain in his right leg that the doctor noted. McVeigh said had been bothering him since the previous week. On August 4th, 1988, he wrote to Steve telling him he had just gotten through the middle of 3 bad weeks. although he must have been referring to something else, as no medical visits are listed for that month. After completing basic training, Private McVeigh arrived at Fort Riley, Kansas, shortly afterwards on September 9th, 1988. Though never mentioning his head and leg injuries, he wrote to Steve, "Yesterday we got more shots. This time I was politely introduced to yellow fever, typhoid, and plague 1, whichever plague this one is, I'm not sure, but plague 2 didn't hurt as much in basic. They told us some side effects would be flu-like symptoms. 1 hour later, we had a ceremony to welcome the new company in. The asshole CO made a dickhead 1.5 hour long faggot speech. It was just like the movies. People crumbling all around me, falling down and passing out. I almost went myself, and just as everything was going black and my knees buckled, the CO finished and turned the company over to the first sergeant, who immediately gave us rest, which was command to talk or move as long as you don't move your right foot. I went to my right knee." I went right to my knee. Yeah.
I was gonna say if he went to his right knee, he would have. He would have
moved your
gotten
right
out
foot.
of
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
And he was a good soldier. He wouldn't do
And
that.
he was a good soldier. He went to his left knee. His medical records contain no entries until September 12th. However, on this day, his first documented yellow fever, typhoid, and plague shot 1 vaccinations are listed. And a month later, his October 7th plague 2 shot. No signed
October
consent
7th,
forms.
eh?
No signed consent. What a coincidence. This year had an October 7th as well. They mentioned September 12th, but not September 11th. No signed consent forms are included in his immunization records, and redactions that obscure the identities of doctors who administered the shots, as well as any identifying information, rank, etc., about them, are found throughout the records. The first redaction being the name of the doctor who oversaw McVeigh's yellow fever vaccination. The earliest non-routine medical visit noted in the records after McVeigh's completion of basic training occurred on October 4th, 1988 at 6:23 a.m. when he arrived at the medical barracks complaining of chronic back pain. He said began 3 weeks prior, shortly after his second round of immunizations. The doctor noted that Private McVeigh used to lift a lot of bags at home.
Bags of fertilizer.
Yeah, bags of what now? And oddly, although he had not been home in over 5 months, the pain was such that McVeigh requested an X-ray, the results of which were normal.
Yes.
2
Cap,
days later,
did you get your yellow fever vaccine?
yellow fever mentioned. I did not get vaccinated, and I have a chronic case. I am a carrier of yellow fever, and you know what? I like to sing the praises of yellow fever. It served me well. I haven't done.
Well, yeah, you got the
I've
brain
never
rot from the yellow fever.
I've never suffered even a little bit. Yellow fever is great. Don't get vaccinated against yellow fever. Catch that shit. Have a yellow fever party with your homies. Get yellow fever. You can get yellow. I hear that you can get yellow fever in Thailand for cheap.
Good night, Mr. Zaleski. We appreciate you.
Good night. Thank you, Owen, for joining us. Let's see. Where the fuck was I? All right. 2 days later, on October 6th, October Simp, 1988, he once more saw the doctor for chronic back pain. And on October 8th, 1 day after being given plague 2 shot, his gums began to bleed, for which he would for the first time, but certainly not the last, see the army dentist. That
Vaxxed?
November, yeah, vaxxed? Yes. Yes, sir. That November, he wrote to Steve and said that although he had come to the decision to eventually move back home to his father's house and enclose the house in evergreens, he did not think this would stem the avalanche of decay he perceived as imminent. The phrase avalanche of decay came from one of his favorite films, Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, about survival in a dystopian society after nuclear war.
We go in, we fight.
After nuclear war has destroyed most of the planet, his remaining letters for the duration of his military service made no further mention of shots, aches, and pain. dental issues, or any of the many other symptoms, sometimes quite bizarre, for which you would receive medical attention in the years to come. Just fuck it. I mean, man, if I got a bunch of like fucking cocktails injected into me and my gums began to bleed, I would demand an immediate discharge. Like, fuck that shit.
Yes, I've become the one of the bad guys from James Bond because I don't have any teeth anymore. Can I go home?
Can I go home? I would like titanium teeth to replace my current teeth. From
Jaws. His name is Jaws.
Jaws, yes. From just May 1988 until that December, excluding visits for the immunizations, McVeigh saw the dentist 3 times and made 4 additional non-routine visits to the doctor. In just a few weeks, military doctors examined Timothy McVeigh on more occasions than civilian doctors had throughout his entire high school career, and upon his leaving the Army 2 years later, more times than in his entire life prior to joining the Army. McVeigh's medical records and letters reveal an unknown soldier who, in 2 years active duty in the United States military, received medical attention on more than 75 occasions, as reflected in his available records. Was it possible that Timothy McVeigh's avalanche of decay alluded to something more than his adolescent apocalyptic survival fantasies?
Boy, Wendy really likes that phrase.
What, avalanche of decay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty fucking good. I mean,
No, it's a good. Yeah, I know, but like, you know,
Romero don't Romero don't miss.
It's like saffron. You don't want to overuse it.
It's just because it's expensive and it doesn't really taste like much, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see here. So I guess it looks like we're right at time on Private McFly.
Yeah, I think we'll.
What do you think about them apples?
Different movie, but all right.
Different movie. Yes, I know. Hello, McFly.
Goodwill McFly.
Goodwill McFly. You know, I mean, if you remade Back to the Future today, well, I guess you probably couldn't. If you had remade Back to the Future for some unaccountable reason in the aughts, Matt Damon would have been a decent replacement.
Timmy McVeigh goes back in time to stop his whore mother from being
his whore mother, and but then he becomes a simp. But then he becomes a fucking pussy.
Oh wow, dude! If you think about it, Back to the Future lines up with his life pretty good. If he had access to a time machine, he could have easily stopped all of the bad things from happening in his life.
If Timothy McVeigh had
or if he'd gotten nuclear material.
Oh my God! It's actually because Bill McVeigh, right, was simp Crispin Glover, right? Because he never smacked around his whore wife. And who had a drinking problem, just like
I'm telling you, it lines
just like
up really well.
Crispin Glover timeline, Marty McFly's mom, right? McVeigh needs to go back in time and like convince his dad to use that bowling grip on his mom once in a while.
Trust me, she's gonna love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys might not be ready for this one. But your mom's gonna love it. Yeah, McVeigh could have brought the Turner Diaries back and prevented the civil rights movement. Honestly, he could have solved all of his problems. Like
he brings it back to Thomas Jefferson. He's like, "This is the worst book I've ever read."
It's pretty. Yeah.
What is a truck bomb? What is fertilizer?
What is true? It just convinces him to become. It convinces him to become an anti-federalist. That's what it does. It's like, nope. We can't do federalism. Can't do federalism.
We have to abolish slavery right now. Get rid of all of them.
Yep. Abolish, deport. That's the only way. It will not work out. It will not work out otherwise. As many people actually argued at the time. So anyway, I guess we're gonna wrap for this week. Salve Imperium Americanus.
Sic semper tyrannosaurus.
Sic semper Trump-a-mania. Semper Fidelis Trump-a-mania.
Oh, right. Semper Fidelis Tyrannosaurus.
Yes, always faithful, terrible lizard.
Ah, cool.
Always faithful. Yeah. Oh, sick. All right, guys.
Good
We'll
night,
see you
America.
next time. All right.
We will not walk in fear one of another. We will not be driven by fear into an age of unreason if we dig deep in our history and our doctrine, and remember that we are not descended from fearful men, not from men who feared to write, to associate, to speak, and to defend the causes that were for the moment unpopular. We must not confuse dissent with disloyalty. Good night.